It's hour 21 of our 24-hour marathon, and it's the Class 8A Big Boys. First-time finalists Hinsdale Central versus the scoring machine from Maine South. Next.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Memorial Stadium on the campus of the University of Illinois in Champaign. It's time for the grand finale of our weekend of football coverage. I am Aaron Bennett. It's time for the 8A state title game, and in this game, the 11-2 Hinsdale Central Red Devils looking for their first ever state title in their first ever trip to the state title game. They will face the undefeated Maine South Hawks, who haven't won a state title since the year 2000, so they are hungry for one as well. Let's send it upstairs to the booth. Jack McInerney and Dave Bernhard. Guys.
Thank you very much, Aaron. And folks at home, we caution you. Pay attention, please. Both of these teams wear red. Tonight, Maine South will be in the red jerseys. It will be Hinsdale Central in the white trimmed in red. Why do I say that? Because offensively, these teams are so similar, you might have a tough time telling them apart.
It really is one of those games where they're both running out of the spread offense. They're very similar in a lot of things that they do offensively. They run the option, they throw the ball all over the ballpark, and they're a very exciting team. You can just tell the tension in the stadium right now because there's tension in this booth right now. It's an exciting time. This is going to be a great football game.
Let's take a look at how these two teams made their way to Champaign. First of all, for Hinsdale Central, big win to open it up against a very good Downers Grove South team, and then a score that surprised a lot of people, dominating a Bolingbrook club. Brother Rice and Mount Carmel fell on field goals by David Lutz. His only 2 field goals of the year. They were game winners in the final 3 minutes in each of those 2 games. For Maine South, check out that first score, 63 points. But would you be surprised if I told you they were trailing by 15 points in the first quarter of that game? Loyola gives up 26 points after giving up only 8 all year. And then the shutout over Barrington, followed by that semifinal win over Bartlett. But if you look at those last 3 games, the defense for Maine South only allowing 13 points per game, or those 3 games, we should say. Let's take a look back at Hinsdale Central. Their key players. He's just a junior. He's left-handed. He's John Whitelaw.
You know, he's a special player. He's only a junior, but he really makes this ball club glow. He is one of the kind of kids that no matter what you think he's going to do, he'll do the opposite and make a big play. He scrambles, he runs the option, he throws the ball extremely well. He has tremendous poise, and he has been coming on extremely well in the playoffs, and he's really been the leader for him in a lot of different ways, not only by what he does physically, but by the way he has calmed down the team in the huddle in the big games.
And I know how you like linebackers, and Hinsdale Central has a good one, Brendan Sullivan.
He is an outstanding football player. He, again, is the quarterback of the defense. He's tough. He's 207 pounds, which a lot of people might think that's not real big. But I'll tell you what, when he gets to where he's going, he comes with a lot of impact and a lot of weight behind those hits.
For Maine South, he may be the best quarterback in the state. He is headed to Vanderbilt. His name is Charlie Goro.
Well, he's really outstanding. He's done it for 2 years now. He's a Sun Times Player of the Year. He's a special type of quarterback. 6'2", 192 pounds. The offense is suited to him. He can run the football. He throws the ball well. Again, just like the opposite side with Whitelaw, he has great poise under pressure. And neither one of these quarterbacks are going to panic. I think you're going to look at 2 quarterbacks and you're going to say, are these high school football players? They're that well poised and that skilled at this particular point in their career.
A lot of 8A teams do not have 2-way players. Maine South has one. He's a good one. He's a big one on that offensive and defensive line, Zach Tim.
He's a throwback. Zach Tim, 6'3", 217. He's a lot more active than that weight is. He is all over the football field, and you can see that he's kind of fired up about this football game. But he's a throwback as far as being able to go both ways, and he plays, there's no downtime for him. He plays with great intensity on both sides of the ball each and every play.
A lot of folks, including us, have talked an awful lot about the quarterbacks for these 2 teams, Whitelaw and Goro. But this game, truly, even with the spread offense, could come down to the running backs. For Hinsdale Central, Rich Zaleski, and for Maine South, Matt Perez.
Again, both the offenses are very similar, and both those running backs are exactly the same way. They'll run option with both of those players. They have great insight. They can read on the zone reads and getting out on the pitch. They're threats at all times to go both ways. Now, if there's any pressure put on the quarterbacks, the running backs are what keep those linebackers home. And again, both teams run very similar offenses. We had talked about this before. They both attended the Sacred Heart Griffin camp for spread offenses, so there's going to be a lot of similarities in tonight's ball game.
Well, and defensively, if you take a look at these two teams, they face these type of offenses every single day in practice. How does that play itself out when you see a team that may do things just with a little bit different wrinkle?
Well, the kids never panic. They see the spread formation. They see 3 receivers, 4 receivers to one side. They know the coverages. They're not confused by motion or any of those type of things. When you see it week in and week out and all throughout the summer, that makes for a long season. Kids are very, very similar to it. And once everything wears out about being here in the stadium, they're going to settle down and get down to the kind of football that they can play.
A lot of folks coming into this game say, well, in that 8A game, you're going to have a high-scoring affair. Your thoughts?
I agree with them.
Okay.
I really think that both of these offenses are so good that they're going to put a lot of points on the board. And the ironic thing is, I say that tongue-in-cheek because both play very good defense against the opponents they've had coming up into this game. All of them have had very tough games throughout the playoffs, but now all of a sudden they're coming up against a mirror image of themselves in a lot of different ways.
Maine South, of course, 2-time state champions. They finished second 3 straight years. Hinsdale Central here for the first time in their school's history. And as far as the historical significance of that, what about it for Maine South, having been here before?
Well, I think Maine South, there's a lot of people that can talk about it and tell them what to expect. For Hinsdale Central, were no expectations to get here from the standpoint of people thought they'd be knocked off before because they were 7-2. But right now, to me, that first quarter will be key. When they settle down and get used to the pomp and circumstance and start getting into the flow, I think it's going to be a real interesting ball game. But that first quarter could be interesting.
Let's start it. Let's head to our public address announcer, Jeff Fritzen, for tonight's starting lineups.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here are the starting lineups for the Class 8A State Championship. First for Hinsdale Central, head coach Mike DiMatteo. On defense for the Red Devils, at defensive tackle, number 73, Mike Owens. Nose tackle, number 66, Patrick Clegg. Defensive tackle, number 42, Alan Cameron. Outside linebacker, 27, Mike Rogowski. Outside linebacker, number 25, David Lutz. Inside linebacker, 10, Jason Rafferty. Middle linebacker, 34, Brendan Sullivan. Inside linebacker, number 2, Eric Alexander. At cornerback, number 24, Brian Connor. Cornerback, number 22, Garrett Kawa. And a free safety, number 33, Sean O'Grady. And now for Maine South, head coach David Insara. And the offense for the Hawks at split end, number 1, Joey Orlando. At right tackle, number 74, Zach Tim. Right guard, 51, Mike Cummins. Center, number 50, Joe Calabrese. Left guard, number 66, Mike Cooney. Left tackle, 56, Alex Shikowski. Split end, number 21, Sam Swarzinski. Quarterback, number 7, Charlie Goro. At running back, number 34, Matt Perez. Slot back, number 6, John Alvidi. And at flanker, number 11, Brendan Cronin.
They are fired up here in Champaign, and we have already had our coin flip. You already met the starting lineups as they will take the field, and tonight's coin flip and captain's meeting is brought to you by Walgreens. Walgreens, a proud sponsor of the IHSA's Do What's Right, Good Sportsmanship campaign, as we see the captains for both Hinsdale Central and Maine South meeting on the field. Well, there's some folks that have been waiting a long time to get this one going. When you have 8 games played in the state finals and you are in that 8A game, you watch the first 4 games on Friday, you watch a couple on Saturday, you come on down, but now it's time for all the folks for Hinsdale Central and Maine South, and this is what Hinsdale Central will need to do.
Well, they're obviously going to have to stop Perez. You know, people say, well, Goro this, Goro that, but Perez is kind of the hidden gem in that diamonds in the rough there. Goro obviously is the big diamond, but Perez sits in there and he can make a lot of things happen. Can Hinsdale keep their composure and balance early on? And that'll be key for them.
Maine South, as we said, 3 times they have finished second in 2003, 2004, 2005. Here are their keys tonight against the Red Devils.
A lot of people think that Hinsdale Central is real strong up front in the linebackers, and probably their softest spot might be their secondary. Well, this is certainly not a place where you want to have a soft spot in the secondary with a team that runs and throws. They have to balance them out, and they've got to set the tone early. So crucial.
Well, do we have some pregame jitters on the field? Quite possibly. The 2 teams have themselves on the wrong sides of the field, so now we will reverse ends. Hinsdale Central in the white to your right. Maine South, they'll get their hands on the ball first. Here, as we have crowned 3 straight champions here this afternoon and evening, and now it's time for 8A, the largest school class here in Illinois.
I think it's so ironic that we're kicking off the 35th anniversary of the IHSA finals, and here we are with this kind of a game. I think that's tremendous, and it's 10 years now that's been here at the University of Illinois in Champaign.
Garrett Kava has it teed up for the Red Devils, and we are underway in 8A football title game action. Just across the 20-yard line, that's where Maine South will start it. Corby Ryan with the return of 12 yards. And here is that starting lineup for Maine South. Now, Joe Calabrese was introduced as the center. However, he was injured against Bartlett. Mike Chakowski should be getting the start here tonight. His twin brother Alex on the left tackle spot. And here are your skill position players. Goro Perez, Joey Orlando does everything. John Elvedi, Brendan Cronin, and Sam Schwarzinski. It'll be the Hawks with it first, averaging 45.3 points per game. Goro's going to run it. Gain of a couple, and that's it. Hinsdale Central defense closing down very quickly, and here is the defensive front. We'll talk about Patrick Clegg in the middle, surrounded by Mike Owens and Alan Cameron. Linebacking core, Rogowski, Lutz, Rafferty, Sullivan, and Eric Alexander. And in the secondary, Brian Connor, Garrett Kava, and Sean O'Grady.
That was a good stop early for Hinsdale Central to make that play on Goro in the very first play. That kind of gave them a little spunk to their step.
This is where Goro will sit. He is headed to Vanderbilt. Fakes it to Perez. And a big stick early, pass incomplete. Oh my, did Garrett Kava put it to Tyler Benz?
Well, we'll take a look at this. This is off the option fake. We just got through the option fake right there, and he goes over the top. Watch the hit right here. Wow. That's welcome to the state finals right there. Big time hit.
Tyler Benz will get his chance when he plays some defense, linebacker for the Hawks, who do play a lot of people both ways.
And now spreading out the field. 3 receivers to the wide side and a split to the short side.
And this room. He has room. That's a first down and more. Charlie Goro across midfield. And that's what he can do. This time he scampers for 30 yards. Goro, the second leading ground gainer on this Maine South team.
Right here, good coverage forced this big play. They had him covered. He had nowhere to go, and he runs back to the weak side. Linebacker had vacated to help the split end, the corner to the split end side, and that gave him a lot of room to run here, and that's what he can do. He can make things happen. When he's forced to scramble or when there's good coverage, he can make it go. He has over 500 yards rushing along with his 3,000 yards of passing.
Some of those yards are design, and others, he just sees what's happening on the field. One of his great strengths.
Oh.
He's got a fall on it, And he's going to be dropped for a loss of about 12.
Now again, that's the new center that we were talking about.
Mike Chikowski doing the snapping in place. Normal center Joe Calabrese.
Wasn't all that bad a snap. I think he might have taken his eyes off a little bit, but the center in the spread formation is so crucial. In this case, having Joey Calabrese out and bringing in Mike Chikowski in a big game to do the snapping. We'll see what happens down the road here.
Early on, Hinsdale Central has put Maine South into second and third and longs. To the near side, there's room here for Goro. Looking for a block downfield, he gets it, and he's got the first down to the 34-yard line.
I'm impressed with his speed early.
The Maine South offensive line, neither one of these clubs with a big offensive line.
That was a coverage scramble, and that's turning into big plays for them. Hinsdale's doing a good job with the coverage early, and they're forcing Goro to scramble and almost playing right into his hands.
23-yard pickup there for Goro after a 30-yard run.
Bunch formation.
Perez, the first time, looking to get a block from Goro, but a nice job closing in defensively. You see number 73 there. That's Mike Owens, a 6 foot, 200-pound defensive lineman.
Take a look here at the little option right here. If the end doesn't close down, the quarterback would keep it going back to the weak side, but he did not close down. You can see he's reading a little option right here, but just a good job of pursuit right there by the Hinsdale Central defensive line. They're very active up front.
3 down linemen. And again, it's second down and 10. Time for Goro. He sees an opening. He has a 9-yard pickup close to a first down. Maybe he does have it.
Could be a measurement. Again, a coverage scenario here where the good coverage forces him to start scrambling, and this is really hurting Hinsdale Central when he has to scramble. They're doing a great job of covering the receivers, but now with a 3-man rush, the linebackers drop out to help. That 3-man rush cannot contain him.
Field has been wide open for Goro, who's a foot short of a first down. And he has it knocked out of his hand. Ball loose. Somewhere in that pile is the football. And it ends up back in the hands of the Maine South Hawks.
Let's look right at the center right here to see what happens. There's the ball. You can see the center is driven back into the throwing quarterback, and his arm is clipped. Number 66, Patrick Clegg, drove the center back into the quarterback, and that's what knocked the ball out of his hand.
Well, the difference, Joe Calabrese, the center who was injured, 265 pounds, he's out of there. Mike Chikowski, a 193-pounder. Incomplete pass.
That's a big stop for Hinsdale Central, just for confidence.
Well, the offense that they were able to generate, Maine South, is mainly by way of the running game from Charlie Goro. He carried 6 times for 50 yards on that drive.
And really, we say running game because he ran with the football, but he was just flushed out of the pocket because there was excellent coverage downfield by the secondary and the linebackers of Hinsdale Central. They're going to have to make an adjustment on that with the 3-man rush when they're getting the drop. We'll talk about it later.
7:57 to play in the first quarter. Hinsdale Central gets their hands on the ball when we come back from Memorial Stadium. John Whitelaw and the Hinsdale Central Red Devils, their hands on the ball just outside the 25-yard line, and a flag down quickly.
Dead ball, false start, offense.
Referee tonight, Howard Owens from Sullivan. And again, that's just a little bit of jitters here. First snap here ever for Hinsdale Central in a state title game. A couple of heartbreaking losses in the semifinals in their history.
we'll see the composure here of Hinsdale Central in this first quarter and certainly in this first drive. See if they've calmed down being here.
Motion from Mike Culligan. They'll go straight up the middle for a short game.
It's back to the line of scrimmage, so now we'll be looking at 2nd and 10. That was the same play he was going to run initially.
Jack Allen, the sophomore center here for Hinsdale Central. A big responsibility for him. David Kiyosaki, Jim Callis, Jack Caradolo, and Colin Watkins on either side of him. In the backfield, we've talked about Whitelaw and Zajewski, and just like for Maine South, some guys that can catch the ball. Alex Kirk, Vic Culligan, David Betsaniak, and Chris Kaiser.
Rich Zajewski is the key here. He was injured for quite a bit of the season and came back for the Bolingbrook playoff game and made a big difference in their playoff run here to get to this point.
On 2nd and 10, again, straight up the middle. Nothing doing for a Maine South defense that has really been under the radar, so to speak. And this is their defense. Demos Tingus, Mike Cooney, Zach Tim. We talked about him, and Zach Glazebrook up front. Good set of linebackers here. They always are at Maine South. Tyler Benz, Corby Ryan, and Nick Catino. Then in the secondary, you see a lot of familiar names, led by Jory Orlando, Kevin Maloney, Ronnie Muck, and Kevin Karish. 3rd and long for the Red Devils.
Their defense has been underrated all year because of the high profile of the offense that they run.
Whitelaw's first passing attempt. And the lefty delivers, but the good hit put on in the secondary by Ronnie Muck. The intended receiver was Mick Culligan. And here are your comparisons between the junior lefty John Whitelaw and the senior right-hander Charlie Goro. And they both completed a high rate.
High rate of percentage, but the other part of that is that Whitelaw also ran more as part of their package with the option. Goro, up until obviously his 50 yards tonight, doesn't run. He runs, but not as much as Whitelaw out of their particular offense.
Whitelaw is the punter for the Red Devils. Check that. At 34.6 average. He's got Saru along the sideline, and now he'll boom it away.
What a great weapon.
That is not unusual for John Whitelaw to do that. Thought he might think about running there along the sideline, but he gets off a 50-yard boot.
Well, that pressure forced him to go a little further out than he wanted to, but he's smart enough to realize that he would have had to make a pretty long run to get that first down, so that was a pretty good job. This is something that more teams are doing now, especially if the quarterback, they run the soccer, they sprint out to get away from the rush, and then they sprint out and do it on a run. But folks at home, you try and think about what an athlete a person must be to be able to punt the ball on the run as far as hand-eye coordination. Very, very difficult to do.
5 receivers, 3 to the bottom of your screen, 2 to the top. And again, Goro was in trouble with it. That's 2 snaps now that Charlie Goro has not been able to handle cleanly.
Well, the other snap he was knocked into, but this one it looked like he was just raising up and the ball slipped out of his hands. Let's take a look at it. Great camera angle right here. He's just taking his eye off the ball too quickly. And that's exactly what happened. He's looking, as you can see right there. He's not concentrating on the snap and getting the ball.
That's a loss of 8. The 15-yard line. This one's handled cleanly. This will go to Perez. Tough 4 yards there for Matt Perez.
Good job by the backside staying home, looking for that counter. It's very difficult to teach backside people to stay home on that kind of stuff because they want to race to get to the football or get to their angles of pursuit too soon. And what happens is they overrun the ball, and so they become susceptible to reverses and counters. In this case, Hinsdale Central, very well coached, stayed home, and they made the play.
Barrington coach Joe Sanchez says, Goro's the real deal, but Perez, he's the difference maker. 3rd down and 13. Goro has run for first downs in 2 other situations like this. He's going to throw it on this one. First down completion near the 40-yard line. He finds John Albidi. Albidi just sat down. Goro found him for a gain of 18.
They really spread out and they look for the seams in that defense, and he gets right in between the linebackers and the safety. Right in here, you can see him finding that hole in there. Just getting underneath the safety and the linebacker. Gets underneath David Lutz, number 25. And when you run these kind of plays day in and day out for years and years and through the summer, they know how to pick these defenses apart. The receivers know where the holes are in a particular defense, and the quarterback knows where to go with his reads.
Motion from Orlando and a flag from the back judge. The play clock shows 0.
Yep.
Offense, delay game, 5 yards.
I don't know that Maine South has had a play of a down and distance of less than 5 yards tonight. Again, they're going to start here 1st and 15.
Well, many times when you are predicating everything on the read of what you see as far as the secondary and the linebackers movement, when you get up against a team like this and they're moving around all the time, it takes longer to get your read in, and consequently, the delay of the game.
Good coverage downfield, and a flag will go down. A little bit too tight of coverage that time for number 24, Brian Connor.
Goro's pass intended for Joey Orlando. Penalty flag on the play.
It's a timing route all the way. He was doing a 15 and out, and he threw it before he made the break. And kind of an interesting call.
Ball was intended for Joey Orlando, thrown behind him a little bit. He went out of bounds, and as we said, Brian Connor was there.
Pass interference, defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
As we said, the referee tonight, Howard Owens from Sullivan, Mark Thomas, Rex Roberts, Chris Hartbank, and Jeffrey Collings. They're working the 8A game here this year, and once again, it's a long process, rating process, experience process to get yourself here in the state championship games. Everything coming here to the near side, and it's all Goro. He takes a hit, but he's close to a first down.
That was a run play all the way because the motion man came out here and then swung back and made a crackback block on the outside linebacker. Let's see if we can catch it right here. He's running all the way. By keeping the ball up, he holds the defensive backs a wee bit, but there were crackback blocks. It was a run the whole way.
That tackle was by Sean O'Grady, a 6', 160-pound senior.
By him holding the ball up in the throwing position, that freezes the secondary and the linebackers to come up to rotate too fast. So it's a good job on his part to do that while he's starting out to run.
Perez changed his direction. Now he's got an opening. Matt Perez. Touchdown, 41 yards. Maine South on the board first.
Take a look at it right here. It's just a simple little trap going back against the grain. And we had spoke earlier about Perez. He really is the key. 197-pound junior. Over 1,000 yards rushing, 19 touchdowns, and a 7.8 rushing average. He's a good one, and you need a good back in this kind of an offense.
Joey Orlando for the extra point. He only comes off the field on kickoffs. Orlando had the field goal to defeat Glenbrook South 30-27. The left-footed kicker puts it up, and Maine South has themselves a 7-0 lead with 3:57 to play in the first quarter of your 8A championship game on the IHSA TV network. "41-yard touchdown run by Matt Perez puts the Hawks on the board. Let's go downstairs. Our sideline reporter for this 8A title game is Aaron Bennett.
Thanks a lot, guys. We just saw Matt Perez run in that touchdown. You know, most running backs wouldn't like running in a spread offense, but Perez says he likes it because he knows he'll get more touches up the middle, a lot more room to run, and especially more touches on nights like this that are cold and dreary. Maine South head coach David Sura calls Perez the best running back he's ever coached, guys. That's saying something.
Indeed, he has had some obviously fine quarterbacks. Sean Price, Tyler Knight, now Charlie Goro, but running backs have been none too shabby either in Park Ridge. Straight up the middle of the field and room to run for Mick Culligan. Check that, that's Brian Connor with the return. Connor had a 91-yard kickoff return against Mount Carmel for a score, and he takes this one back 36 yards. Scoring drive for Maine South. It only took 4 plays and covered 85 yards, the last 41.
coming from Matt Perez's feet.
And what led to those touchdown runs there was the fact that he had to scramble out. Goro had to scramble to make some big runs, and then all of a sudden Perez pops one right up the middle because the formations are spread out and there's nobody in the middle of the field.
Red Devils from Hinsdale Central. And Whitelaw wasn't ready for it. And a flag comes down. And some extra flags come down. There's one flag at the snap and another about 3 seconds after the whistle had blown. If you're just joining us, there were 27 penalties in the 7A state championship game played about 45 minutes ago. East St. Louis defeating Geneva. We're getting a good start on that number here tonight.
2 fouls on the play. Dead ball, false start, offense, 5 yards. Then a dead ball, personal foul, red. Go 5 yards, and then 10.
Here's a look
and then it'll be okay.
at this play, both beginning and end of the play.
Jack Allen with a high snap that Whitelaw apparently was not ready for, and you can see right there, that's kind of a cheap shot.
Corby Ryan, number 32, at the elbow. When we talk about the 2 semifinal games that Hinsdale Central has lost, they lost to Lockport 41-38 in 2002, really one of the great playoff games in IHSA football history. But do you know who the ball boy was in that game for Hinsdale Central?
I'm going to take a wild guess.
Go for it.
Whitelaw.
John Whitelaw. He remembers that game vividly.
And I was at that game. I was right in the corner of the end zone when they made the touchdown pass to win it. And unfortunately, Kenny Schreiner, a good friend of mine, was the head football coach and athletic director at Hinsdale Central. And that was just a sad, sad scenario to see that happen.
And then the Lockport Porters went on to win the state title in 2002. Well, the net effect of the penalty puts the ball right near midfield for the Red Devils.
See Whitelaw, the eyes looking at the secondary to see what the rotations are, makes his call.
Nice catch.
Ooh.
Alex Kirk. Kirk had to bring that one up off his knees a little bit.
Well, this is just a nice throw by Whitelaw right here and a good catch by Kirk. And of course, it looks like Culligan's getting in his way there, number 21. But good mechanics by Whitelaw. Now, he's only a junior, but he started last year. And horse collar there.
Fans on the Hinsdale Central side don't like the approach Corby Ryan has taken the last 2 plays for Maine South. Ryan, a 6', 212-pound senior. But Hinsdale Central, less than a yard short of a first down. Up the middle they go, and again we get a quick whistle.
Holds the ball carrier. Tackled by 74, Zach Tim.
Did not see the flag, where I cannot find where it is.
Unless there was a timeout.
Timeout, Hinsdale Central.
Came running up from the Hinsdale Central side, so the coach obviously called a timeout.
There you see the numbers. Maine South, again, they like to go with quick people in their front 5. Hinsdale Central's offensive line, probably about average for a high school team at 235 pounds. But both these, it's funny to say that now, isn't it?
It cracks me up, 235 pounds, about average. And that's true. It's just amazing how big high school players have gotten.
Hey, Champaign, are you hungry? Well, Quiznos delivers from their location at Neal and John Streets. Quiznos, delicious, fresh and fast, right to your door. Quiznos, Neal and John Streets delivers. Call them now. Call them now, have them deliver, sit back and enjoy this 8A championship game. 2:53 to play here in the first quarter. 7-0 Hinsdale South lead, and you're looking at a 40-degree night. The wind's not too strong. Predicting rain or snow. We have had a very dry and quite comfortable weekend here in Champaign for our 8 state title games. We've got some nice crowds down here. Across the way, we get a good look at the folks from Maine South, and below us, there's an awful lot of red and white from Hinsdale Central as well.
Well, this is a good down for Hinsdale here, 2nd and 1.
Whitelaw to keep, he can cut it to the outside. And he'll step out of bounds at the 24-yard line.
Now that shows you right there the composure of that young man.
18-yard run for Whitelaw.
Again, this is the option. He had the pitch man outside. They jumped the pitch man, and he turned it up inside. He has done this all year long, and you just have seen right there their bread and butter play with him running with the football.
6'1", 183-pound junior.
All that yardage he has on rushing the football is not scrambling. Those are designed rushes out of the option from the spread formation.
First carry of the night for Rich Zajeski. Short carry, and Maine South says they've come up with the ball.
They're saying it's down. Teams are always taught when the ball even looks like it could be a suspect if it was a fumble to jump up and down and start pointing in the direction that you recovered it. Good job of acting there by Maine South.
You talked about Rich Zajeski and how he missed the last 3 regular season games. The first game of the playoffs against Downers Grove South. He got back in action against Bolingbrook, his second playback. He scored from 61 yards out. He was healthy. High ankle sprain sidelined him. Whitelaw felt the pressure coming from his backside. Culligan was there, but I'm not sure that Whitelaw wasn't just trying to get rid of that, and Culligan just happened to be the nearest man to it.
Again, we're in 2-down territory here.
Take a look back at the play prior to this, the one that Maine South said that they may have had a fumble recovery on.
Right down at the bottom of the screen there, right? Tough to see, a lot of bodies down there.
3rd and 9 for Hinsdale Central, trailing by 7. Whitelaw with plenty of time.
Get a man wide open too.
Closed on him in a hurry when he decided to run. Number 66 gets off that pile. That's Mike Cooney for Maine South.
Right here coming across your screen, right there, that pick play, he gets past the linebacker. He is wide open, but John Whitelaw can't see him because he sees the red jerseys in front of him, so he puts it down and tries to keep the composure, keep the ball. So now we have 4th and 8.
They will go for it here. It'd be about a 40-yard field goal. Kicker David Lutz has 2 field goals. His longest of the year is 25. He has room to run. Great move to get to the outside. And Whitelaw will be very close to the first down. It will depend on the spot. He had to get to the 14.
Now down on his side of the field, he made it. But from the backside, he might not have, depending on the mark. But this is just an outstanding job by Whitelaw right here, scrambling, and they're giving the first down. You can see right here, by him lowering his shoulder to get that extra yard and a half, picked up that crucial first down for him. You can see right here, he's looking downfield, good coverage, scrambles, and right in here, he's stumbling, lowers that shoulder, and that was just enough to get him that extra yard and that first down.
4th down conversion gives the Red Devils the ball at about the 13-yard line. Motion from Culligan. And he gets to the 10-yard line.
That was an outstanding play right there for him to stop and be able to cut back in and pick up a couple yards, because he had him dead to rights coming up on that pitch.
Mick Culligan, 5'8" senior, 155-pounder. Final seconds here of the first quarter. And it runs down to 0. One score in the first quarter. It came off a 41-yard run for Maine South's Matt Perez, and it's the Hawks on top of the Red Devils. 7-0. We've got the second quarter coming up after these words from your local sponsors. Champaign-Urbana, the home of the IHSA State Football Championships. 8 state champions have already packed up their hardware and headed home. We've got one more to crown here tonight in Class 8A.
Got a newcomer to the scene down here in Champaign with Hinsdale Central making its first appearance.
They got that by virtue of that thrilling win, 24-21 over Mount Carmel, which As Mike DiMatteo, the head coach, said, it was the biggest football moment in Hinsdale Central history.
Mike DiMatteo has done a tremendous job here at Hinsdale Central.
Kirk threw in motion. The pass to Kirk. That's a touchdown. Alex Kirk came in motion. Whitelaw stared him right on down, and Hinsdale Central an extra point from tying it up.
This is an excellent route right here. You can see he went across the formation. He's taking the flat. They clear out up deep, and he just comes out. That's a very tough throw like that, just getting it out in the flat like that to a moving target who's turning upfield. It's a dangerous throw, but this is something they do all year long in their offense.
David Lutz for the extra point. Coming right at you, and that ties us at 7. 8-play drive for Hinsdale Central.
We talked about in the open that first quarter, the composure that Hinsdale Central will show us, and they have done that. They're now settled down.
Here are your first quarter stats brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Rushing yards, the 98 rushing yards for Maine South. Well, 52 come from Charlie Goro, 41 come on the touchdown run by Matt Perez.
And they were not designed runs by Goro. They were scrambles after great coverage downfield by Hinsdale Central. So right now, I think that Hinsdale Central is kind of calmed down a little bit, so they know they're settled in here.
And a play like this will calm them even more as they look back on that touchdown pass. You see number 5, Kirk, going through.
They clear out right there, and they just throw the pass right out in the flat, and he takes it in for 6.
Ronnie Muck just a little bit late getting there.
It's kind of interesting. Both teams are very sophisticated offenses, outstanding routes that they run against different coverages. The kids know exactly where they need to be and how to get there, and of course the quarterbacks have to read those routes and know who to throw to.
It will be Matt Perez and Jory Orlando deep for the Hawks.
Well, those are 2 young men that I really would not want to kick to either one of them. But they're kicking to Devin Hester now, so.
Garrett Cava ready to tee it up. Line shot right in the chest of Orlando. Here he comes. Needs a block on the outside. Won't get it. Nice job on the tackle by Brian Connor. Just stayed right with him after the return of 24 yards. 4 minutes and 2 seconds, 64 yards and 8 plays, and the touchdown pass. John Whitelaw, and for Whitelaw, that is his 18th touchdown pass of the season. 7 of them have gone to Alex Kirk.
And his big scramble for the first down on 4th and 9, which kept that drive alive, was outstanding by Whitelaw for a junior to have that kind of composure. He just lowered his shoulder to get the extra yard and pick up that big first down.
Now it's Charlie Goro's turn. Elvidi motion to the near side. And a stick on Perez. Oh, baby, did Mike Rogowski put the leather to Matt Perez. Loss of 5.
Now this is just like a little flare screen right here. He just dumps it out to the back, and right there he just goes right by the blockers and comes up and makes a big play for Hinsdale Central. You can see everybody closing in on him. Obviously very well scouted, but great pursuit by Hinsdale Central.
Like today in these 4 games, we've probably seen more hard hits than at any other time that we've been down here. There have been oohs and ahs from the crowd as they watch the replay on the big board.
There's the scramble again.
And there's room to the near side. Let's close down quickly.
All that running to pick up 3 yards.
Eric Alexander, number 2, stayed home a little bit.
You can see he's sprinting out to the right, but a good job of coverage downfield. Then he tries to come back, and you can see the flow of the linebackers, everybody rotating back. He has nowhere to go. Excellent job by the Hinsdale Central defense.
He gets 7, making up for the 5 that Perez lost on the first carry, picked up 2 more, and now again it's 3rd and long for the Hawks.
Secondary for Hinsdale Central is playing a lot of cover 2. 2 safeties deep.
Room up the middle. Here comes Goro again. Makes the move to the outside. Charlie Goro. He's across midfield for a first down before being brought down by David Lutz. 20 yards on the first down run for Goro.
Again, adjustments we're going to have to make as we look at the comparison here with the quarterbacks. Completion percentage is right there. It's really kind of interesting. One's a senior, one's a junior, and they're getting the job done at this point. But Goro, the three-man rush, is not getting it done at this point for Hinsdale Central. They're dropping more people in coverage, and Goro's just taking advantage of it.
The irony of that last graphic, 32 yards passing for these two quarterbacks. Right now, 107 yards rushing combined. Negative yardage for Matt Perez. Once again, 2 straight carries. He's lost yardage.
That was an outstanding job by the linebackers coming up, but the defensive line, the front three of Cameron, Clegg, and Owens, stuffing the front of the offensive line of Maine South to make that play happen, to free up those linebackers to come up and make the play.
To the top of your screen will go John Alviti along with Sam Schwarzinski.
Tight end right down the middle.
There he is. Catch is made. Tyler Benz bounces off one man. He has a first down at the 25-yard line. Benz, a 6'3", 190-pound junior, takes the Goro pass for 27 yards.
The safety rotated too far over to the hash mark. He was away from the tight end, and you can see right there he tried to make a block tackle rather than using his arms and actually tackling him right here. You can see he just runs into him, and that you can't do that at this level of football. You've got to wrap your arms around him and make the tackle.
Finally, Eric Alexander brings down Benz. Just like that, Maine South at the 25 of Hinsdale Central. Schwarzinski motion. Perez the other way. Dances along the sideline, picks up an extra 8 yards when it looked like he was headed out of bounds. First down pickup of 13.
Nice run here by Matt Perez. You can see he's just going back against the grain to the weak side. A nice downfield block just to hesitate. You can see how he tight ropes along the sideline to pick up an extra 5 to 6 yards. Real good job by Matt Perez, 6 foot, 197-pound junior. And again, in these offenses for both teams, it's critical to have a good running back.
Goro running it all the way. Runs into a pile of white, but not before he gets about 7 yards. Peeling themselves off the bottom of the pile, number 34, Brendan Sullivan.
You can see right here on the snap, he's just taken off. He's got his arm swinging as if he's going to throw the ball, but there was never any intention whatsoever of throwing the football. That was a lead all the way with the running back leading him right off tackle and just outside the end.
Officially 5 yards on that pickup for Goro as Maine South looking to take the lead. Perez, the cut at the 5, and he dances in. Maine South on top again. Second touchdown run for Matt Perez.
Now the formation that they had with 3 receivers at the bottom pulled over the safety, and he just runs a cutback here to the opposite weak side and does a nice job of coming back against the grain. Nice run by Matt Perez.
Boy, he knows when he should make that cut, but great vision as well. I mean, the cuts are designed to be made the way the blocking is set up. But Perez, great timing.
Well, you can pull a lot of people out by formation, and that's exactly what Maine South does. By their formations, it creates openings for the running back.
Orlando for the extra point. This one's good, so Maine South answers Hinsdale Central's score, and the Hawks take the 14-7 lead over the Red Devils. We'll be back after these words from your local stations. Starting to settle in here a little bit. Maine South, especially a 71-yard drive in almost 4 minutes. Took them 8 plays, and Perez, his second touchdown run of the night. This one a wee bit shorter than the 41-yarder he had earlier.
They really have a double barrel offense with Charlie Goro at quarterback and Perez at running back, because Goro not only throws the ball well, but runs extremely well also.
Orlando the kick. Taken at the 11-yard line. And up to the 30-yard line for Mick Culligan. Return of 19 yards, and it will be time for Mike DiMattio's club to get their hands on the ball once again. You know, that's the one thing that DiMattio says. He says, you know what? this is a team that plays as a team. There's no egos. Nobody feels as if they're the stars. The kids all like each other. They hang around a lot. They're just fun to be around.
And that comes from the quarterback's, or excuse me, the coach's demeanor too. That's exactly how Mike is. And so the team picks that up. And that's how they respond. Wide open.
Play action.
Wide open.
We've got a score, and it's coming from Mick Culligan. No, he's caught from behind. Oh, what a great job by Sam Schwarzinski. Oh, he never gave up on it.
I just don't understand why he didn't keep running straight
Wow.
down the middle of the field. Great play action right here. There was no rotation at all by the safeties. He is wide open. If he runs straight ahead, he's got 6. He turns a little bit towards the hash mark and gives the angle. And all of a sudden, Schwarzinski makes the play. You can see right here, if he goes straight up the middle of the field, he's got 6.
I got to tell you, big mistake play-by-play announcers make is anticipating a play, but I just anticipated he'd run a straight line. So Hinsdale Central does not score. Now Whitelaw, he'll take the ball inside the 9-yard line after that pass and catch of 59 yards.
Well, this is imperative, obviously, that Hinsdale Central scores now after that big play. I mean, people in the stands on the Hinsdale side were high-fiving, and we already put it up on the board, and so they're going to need to punch one in here. They're a little confused on the coverage here, Maine South.
Just a little bit up and away. That was a tough grab attempt there made by Alex Kirk. You know, and the one thing you see from a lot of these quarterbacks, we've had some great quarterbacks down here this weekend, they're not afraid to throw it into some tight spots.
Not at all. And you can see right here, he's throwing to the short side of the field, and that ball actually could have been caught. He put it right up here. That ball could have been caught and probably should have been caught.
That was Kevin Karish on the coverage for Maine South. Up the middle to about the 5-yard line. Actually not quite, maybe just the 6.
Interested to see what they do here. 4th down. This is their option where the dive to the running back right here. He's going up and he's looking to veer back, but they close down real quickly. The defensive tackle closed. When the tackle blocked down, he followed him right down in his hip and made the play.
Jake Knowles gets his first carry of the night. And a 4th down.
Well, they're spreading them out here, so this could very well be an option play.
They need 3 yards. Zajeski. Oh, he's going to be close. I don't know. We'll see the spot. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Those are the sticks that matter right there. And that's a full yard short. Maine South has held.
Wow.
6.5 to play here in the first half. It's Maine South 14, Hinsdale Central 7, your 8A championship game. .6:34 to play in this first half. Maine South will start this drive at their 4-yard line. Dave Bernhardt and Jack McInerney with you. And Jack, this is crucial right here. Hinsdale Central can kind of pick themselves up here defensively. Maine South could send a big message on this possession.
No doubt about it. This is very crucial for Hinsdale Central.
Goro's looking for a lot. Orlando is there. Broken up nicely on the play by Brian Connor. Boy, Orlando had a step on O'Connor for just a second.
Now, what does this tell you about the confidence that you have in your offense and your quarterback coming out of your own end zone, going for the bomb? Now, oftentimes you can come out smelling like a rose here, but this was just excellent coverage right here. Just an outstanding job by number 24, Brian Connor, going up and making that play.
Well, you know, and actually it was Orlando that had to end up playing defensive back to knock it away from Connor. Great protection from the offensive line as you saw Goro just stand in that end zone to make that throw. Not much room for Perez up the middle.
This will be a big stop here for Hinsdale.
I like the play call of from the 4-yard line, airing it out and letting it go there on first down. Offensive coordinator for Maine South. Of course, we talked about him every year they've been down here. That's Charlie Bliss.
Well, the other part of that, David, think of it. They're throwing coming out of the end zone at first down, and Hinsdale Central was throwing going in. So do they have confidence in their offenses? Yes.
On 3rd and 7, again from the end zone. Goro hit as he throws. He goes down. The pass is incomplete. He hung in there as long as he could and then had to get away in a hurry. You see number 27, Mike Rogowski, walking away from the play. Here they come.
Coming from the left side of your screen right now. He's blind to this. He sees 73, but he does not see right there coming in from behind, and he gets whacked right big time.
It is Rogowski. Oh, my, right between the shoulder blades. And then helping finish it up was Mike Owens, number 73.
Now, Hinsdale Central all throughout the year has made big plays on special teams, kickoff and punt returns.
Good hop for Maine South. This is going to come out near midfield.
That's why you always want to catch the football on AstroTurf on a punt. You cannot afford to let it take that bounce.
41 yards on the kick, so Hinsdale Central's defense did answer. They picked up their offensive unit.
Well, oftentimes after a play like that where you think they're going in for 6 on that big play and then they don't score in the next plays after that, you'd think they'd be a little flat, but that showed me a lot of character that they were able to stop Maine South there coming out.
Well, now we turned it around the other way. Hinsdale Central's moved the ball the last couple of times they've had it. Whitelaw over the middle is picked off the 30-yard line. Room to the outside. Ronnie Muck taken down in Hinsdale Central territory.
Tip pass there. Ball got tipped and the safety was behind the receiver and it was tipped right into him. Let's look right here. Ball was tipped right there, deflects high and right into the hands of the safety, number 2, Ronnie Muck, 6'1", 185-pound junior.
36-yard interception return for Muck. You talk about playing center field, that's what Muck did, and how quickly Maine South's defense turned into an offensive unit on that return.
Great fake.
Goro with it, still on his feet. Charlie Goro goes the distance. Oh man, what a fake, a 38-yard touchdown run for Goro.
That was the option fake we talked about earlier. He fakes to the back to see with the backside closes. Right there's the fake. Backside close, you saw 73 close down to number 2, and he turns it on. He's got excellent speed.
Well, he anchored the state champion 4x200 relay in last year's track championships for the IHSA, and he showed it there.
Football's a little heavier than that baton, but it certainly didn't affect him there.
One play after the interception, Goro makes it a 20-7 game. Orlando looking to add another one on. Goro is the holder. Orlando's kick is through, and just like that, it's become a 2-touchdown lead for the Maine South Hawks.
It really is a turnaround right there when you thought Hinsdale Central was going to tie it up. But this is just an outstanding play by an outstanding football player, Charlie Goro. Look at the fake. You see how they close at the top. There's the option that I talked about before. The end closes down, he keeps the football and goes back weak side. And this is just an outstanding effort right there by Charlie Goro.
One nifty little move. He had David Lutz leaning the wrong way, and Goro took it the rest of the way. And we'll take it downstairs to Aaron Bennett.
Thanks a lot, guys. You just saw a nice touchdown run there by Charlie Goro. As you guys mentioned, he's headed to Vanderbilt next season. He wasn't heavily recruited by a lot of schools, but Vandy was on him from the start, and that's why he's heading there. A lot of recruiters labeled him as a system quarterback, which, as you guys know, is never a compliment, but their head coach called him just an unbelievable player who always seems to turn bad plays into good ones, guys.
Thank you very much, Aaron, as we see Joey Orlando teeing it up. Pretty excited young man. You saw him dancing there along the sidelines. Charlie Goro, 12 carries tonight, 121 yards. The record for yards rushing by an individual in an 8A title game is 148 yards. That was by Steve Walker, the quarterback for Lockport in 2002 in the win over Stevenson.
And they had knocked off Hinsdale Central in the semifinals that year.
Good coverage for Maine South. They're fired up right now. Brian Connor, not much there.
You know, I kind of resent, and I say that as not as strong a words as it sounds, but the comment of a quarterback being a system player. If I'm coaching at my particular high school the same way in Sarah is here, they want that quarterback to be that kind of a player. And so the quarterbacks, well, you know what? When you recruit them, then you change them to your system.
Exactly.
And so that kind of comment can turn off a lot of high school coaches. He is one heck of a high school quarterback and could have been recruited by a lot of schools and would be a great college quarterback for anybody.
Here's maybe the best junior quarterback in the state, John Whitelaw. He has it out near the 45-yard line. We talk about two great quarterbacks. We were talking about how they throw the ball. They've combined for 118 yards throwing it, but now after that 25-yard run, John Whitelaw with 57 yards rushing.
Again, the option, which he does extremely well, they take the pitch man away. You can see he turns up underneath and makes a nice run. He's got excellent speed. He's an outstanding athlete, and he is a threat at any time from that quarterback position to throw or run, and puts a quick 6 points up on the board for Hinsdale.
To the near side. He'll try to square up
Got
his
him
shoulders.
deep.
Oh, and he did have him. He did have him before he's run out of bounds. It may have been tough for him to see, but he did have Alex Kirk down the middle of the field.
It's very difficult for a left-handed quarterback to sprint going to his right and get those shoulders turned up, especially heading to the sidelines. And of course, it's easier for us up here to see that the receiver did break loose and was wide open, but at that point it was a little too late for Whitelaw to spot him.
He did get positive yardage. And it's 2nd down and 4. There's room for him again. One great move. And a 1st down. Boy, oh boy, are we getting a show put on by the running of these two quarterbacks tonight.
Again, this is a coverage run. He looks downfield. They're covered. Nowhere to go, so he turns up. The linebacker flew out to the outside, and just a nice job here by John Whitelaw of turning the ball up the field and getting positive yardage and a nice 1st down.
Whitelaw Jr., some folks think he might be a better prospect as a point guard in basketball than he is even as a quarterback here in football.
Screen.
Zajeski gets one block, and he will be close to that 1st down. Not seen much from Rich Zajeski on the ground, just 2 carries tonight.
I was just going to mention that. This was a double screen. They looked one way and came back to Rich Zajeski, and he hasn't touched the ball as much, and I was kind of concerned because he is a big play threat for them.
You know, and one wonders, he had that high ankle sprain that kept him out of 4 games. It took him into the playoffs. Just wonder maybe there may have been some aggravation there.
Could possibly be, and especially on this turf.
He has it now, and he might have enough for the 1st down there. You know, I know we wear it out. This is a big possession. No, this one's a big possession. But for Hinsdale Central, down by 2 touchdowns and 3.5 to play, this is a big possession. They need points out of this one.
Well, and it's a big confidence builder going into halftime to score, obviously, but also to score and put yourself back into the ball game. So there's a double duty on this score if they can get it.
So Zajeski comes out of the game. You may have seen just a little bit of a hobble there as he was heading to the sidelines. Whitelaw to keep. Oh, and if he could have squirted through there, he would have had something. But again, it was the tackle by Corby Ryan that stopped him.
Again, the option out of the spread offense, you can see closed down, 82 closed down. And Whitelaw just shoestring here. He's got a big play, but he does pick up the 1st down. Nice read right there by John Whitelaw on the option. Shoestring tackle stops him from making it a long play.
Now let's make a correction on that. That was Nick Catino, 6 foot, 196 pound senior linebacker with that ankle tackle. Too much traffic for Whitelaw that time, and you may have heard on our crowd mics just before the snap of the ball, people screaming pass. And of course that would have come from the Maine South side of the field. They saw something there that just was a tip-off, an indicator that Whitelaw was definitely going to throw.
Well, it's kind of interesting how when you look at young quarterbacks in a title game, how sometimes they'll force the ball. He's reading this defense, seeing they're taking it away, and he's not forcing it. He's keeping possession of the football. I'm very impressed with his composure at this point.
Go straight up the middle. Jake Knowles again with the carry.
And again, because of how many times they run to the option, they have to run that ball up inside to keep those people frozen inside. If they just keep going off on the perimeter on the option, those linebackers will be flying out of there, and they're not going to get anything. So they have to run that fullback up the middle.
The 3rd down and 8, and 1 minute and 54 seconds to play, and Hinsdale Central trailing 21-7. The Red Devils will take a timeout. They need to make it count here with the ball at the 28-yard line.
Well, they've got two downs here, 3rd and 4th, to pick up 8 yards. And based on what they've done thus far, they're certainly capable of doing that. And Whitelaw is just the man to get that done for them.
You can order a copy of this game and have it in time for Christmas. Get yourself a DVD of this one. All you have to do is go to www.gametapes.com to learn how easy it is to order. We've got a nice one going here. 2 losses for Hinsdale Central this year. They came on the first and last games of the regular season, fell to Wheaton Warrenville South. Ron Muich's team 28-27 in the season opener in game 1. And then in the final game, in the rain and wind, shut out by a very, very good Glenbard West team, 9-0. Since that point, they've taken it through the playoffs, rolling through their first 2 games, nail biters in the quarterfinals and semifinals, and here they are, trailing by 14. 3rd down and 8. Quickly to Kirk. Not much room there. Tyler Benz forces him out.
Come up with a 4th and 5 here. This is one of their favorite plays. It's just like a flare screen outside, but a good job by Maine South of coverage here and pursuing of the football. And they just do not allow this. It's been a big play for Hinsdale Central throughout the season, but not on this particular call.
4th down, 6 yards would get Hinsdale Central the 1st down. Get a look at Alex Kirk. Now the offensive front. Over the middle, has his man, 1st down. And it is Kirk.
Great throw, great catch, great read.
This was a confident throw. On 4th down, this was not a junior throwing the ball.
He just let him clear the linebackers. Right there, you can see how he let him get by 32, Corby Ryan. He let him clear and just threw it right over the top of him. Excellent throw by a young junior.
They needed 6 yards. They got 18, and now it's 1st and goal.
I say young junior, but he's a veteran junior, having started now for 2 years.
He will keep it, but it's Zach Tim that just rides him down to the ground.
There was really no movement at all on the front of the Maine South defensive line. There's a good shot of Mike DiMatteo, outstanding coach at Hinsdale Central.
Whitelaw went backwards a yard. Two receivers on either side of the line. The ball here on the near right hash mark.
I got a feeling we're going to see a pick play down here. There it is.
Going to the left.
He didn't give it to him.
Then finds his man over the middle. That's pretty good awareness right there. He got it into the hands of John Lyons.
He hesitated here because he had the man open right there, and he hesitated, brought it down. But look at the awareness to throw back against the grain and against his body and pick up the completion. But now we're looking at 3rd down, but again, we're in 2-down territory.
Another timeout called by Hinsdale Central. They're out of timeouts. And of course, you can watch this game streaming live on foxjocks.com. I know there are a lot of folks that do that, folks outside of the Illinois area that can't get the IHSA TV network through their television, so foxjocks.com takes care of you.
I think this is a great shot of the huddle here. You don't see any panic, nobody yelling and screaming, jumping around, just everybody just talking about what they're going to do. Very good composure there by Hinsdale Central team. that has shown composure through the entire playoffs against some very, very tough opponents.
Well, that's exactly what Mike DiMatteo said. This is a team with great poise. Mount Carmel, of course, one of the state powers, scores on them after a turnover, and Hinsdale Central just comes back, relaxes in that semifinal game, and ends up winning the ball game.
And that filters down from the head coach. The kids look in his eyes, and they're looking for any kind of panic or whatever, and he shows them nothing but composure and confidence. They read that, they feel that, and they react to that.
Third down and goal from the 3-yard line.
Oh.
You heard the pass popping, and Knowles goes backwards. We'll see where they spot. They're going to say there's a loss of a yard on the play. Jake Knowles had no room to run.
This is just a straight dive off the option. You can see right here, nowhere to go. Just great penetration by the defensive line, and now we're coming right up on 4th and goal.
Whitelaw to the end zone, incomplete, and for the second time, Maine South defense is held inside the 10-yard line.
Our comments before were prefaced with right here and Coach DiMatteo, but Coach and Sarah with Maine South does the same thing. Those kids have the composure and the confidence to do what they need to do with that offense, and they look in the eyes of their head coach, and he's not panicking, he's showing confidence, and that's how they react to it.
2 times in this first half, Hinsdale Central has been turned away by this Maine South defense.
Now at halftime, he's going to talk about that we've been there, we've done that, now all we got to do is punch it in those extra couple of yards, so we're still in the football game.
No chances, as this first half clock will wind down to 0, and Maine South, in search of their first state championship since the 2000 team won it here in Champaign, 27-8 over Glenbard North, their second state title under Phil Hopkins. They'll leave the field. David and Sarah looking for his first state championship after 3 consecutive second-place finishes. You know, one of the great stories from earlier today is Dave and Sarah took his team to Hancock Stadium on the campus of Illinois State University, where that 95 team won that state title over Mount Carmel. And he said, we just walked around and just reminisced what it was like.
I think that's outstanding to think about those type of things for motivation for your kids. Not that they probably needed any, but that also calmed them down and gave them a little sense of history.
In fact, David and Sarah's down there right now with Aaron Bennett.
Thanks, guys. Coach, a lot of people expected the passing attack to put some points on the board for you guys, but 3 rushing touchdowns. I guess you guys can do it both ways.
No, we can definitely run the ball. Charlie really kept us in it early on with his running ability. But, yeah, we do have to be able to pass. We had a couple nice passes to set up those drives. But, you know, Matt Perez, he can take it to the house, and Charlie Goro, you know, what can we say about him?
Defensively, how big was it to stop them twice inside the 10 and hold them to no points there and get up by 2 touchdowns?
The biggest one being at the end of the half. If they get that one, they've got momentum going in. Now, we've got to play 48 minutes plus. That's our MO. We've said it all year. We've got to play 48 minutes plus. We've got to come out fired up, not worrying about the lead.
Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you,
guys. Let's send it up back to you.
Instead, that momentum is heading into the Maine South locker room as Dave and Sarah sprints off the field. His team a 21-7 lead at the half of the 8-8 championship game. A lot coming up here at halftime. First, we'll take a local break, followed by a network break, and then our panel in the studio.
The Christmas season is underway. One of these teams will be standing under the mistletoe, tasting the sweet kiss of victory tonight. How was that?
That's good.
21-7. Maine South leading Hinsdale Central here at halftime. Lee Hall along with Paul Parpet and Rod Muhich. And guys, 2 words, Charlie Goro.
Charlie Goro.
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
That's 3 words.
Yeah. I think Ron and I were talking that, you know, it seems like Hinsdale Central's made a conscious effort to kind of shut down or slow down the Maine South passing attack, and by doing that, they turned Charlie Goro loose for, you know, 13 carries for 120 yards, which is almost 10 yards per carry.
Yeah, well, interesting stats. 39 yards passing for Maine South. If you'd have told me at the beginning of the game at halftime, would not have predicted that. And I think that's exactly what's happened. Is they're dropping in coverage. They're playing zone, and they're letting Charlie run the ball. And that has proven to be a mistake right now, at least in terms of letting him make plays. He's making some big plays for him.
Sitting in the press box, Bob Sakamoto of the Chicago Tribune said, "I don't think I've seen Maine South run this much all season," and Charlie Goro is leading the way, a 21-7 lead. He was the anchor runner on the 4x200 relay team at State a year ago, and he has led Maine South to a 21-7 lead here at halftime, and we will have more for you coming up here from Champaign after these local messages. Back in Champaign, 21-7, the Maine South lead over Hinsdale Central. It's gotten a little bit chilly here at Memorial Stadium. Great night for high school football as we crown the final champion of what's been a great weekend of football here in Champaign. Lee Hall along with Paul Parpet and Ron Muhich. And guys, you take a look at the running of Charlie Gore. I just want to make one more point about him and his running style. I don't know how many times, I lost track, how many times it looked like he was down on those runs, looked like he was stopped, looked like he had nowhere to go, and he found his way through and made something happen.
Well, he has those intangibles that you really can't coach. You know, not only does he read his blocks when he gets into the open field, but he has the acceleration. You know, he keeps his hips and his pads low, and he can make people miss.
Let's go to our stats brought to us by Menards. Save big money at Menards and take a look inside the numbers. There you get a look. Look at the rushing yards for Maine South, 187 and 122 of those for Charlie Goro. 120 of those for Charlie Goro. Anything else stand out, guys?
Yes, two things on the running backs. Perez had a very good first half, started the game well for him, and it looks like Zajeski might be hurt. He didn't play in the last couple of series there. They had the sophomore number 31 in there. That'll make a big difference for the effectiveness of Hinsdale Central's ability to run the football. A lot of credit to Whitelaw. I think Whitelaw's hung in there. He's run the ball very well, had him twice down inside the red zone that they got turned away. Otherwise, we might be looking at a tie score right now.
Well, I think that's two big things. Hinsdale Central's been turned away twice at the goal line, or this could be a tie ball game. And you can't count out Hinsdale Central. They have the opportunity and the ability to put points up on the board as quickly as Maine South does.
Well, we saw Don Beebe here yesterday, and a lot of people remember him. He's the coach of Aurora Christian, of course, a 9-year NFL veteran. A lot of people remember him from the Super Bowl, chasing down Leon Lett as Leon Lett tried to celebrate on the way into the end zone. Now, Mick Culligan of Hinsdale Central wasn't celebrating. He was streaking toward the end zone, but Sam Schwarzinski of Maine South did not give up and brought him down, and Maine South ends up holding defensively. How big a play is that?
That's huge. And again, that's great hustle. In practice, you always on your defense make sure that you have all your players running to the football at all times. And I'm sure that they did that and sprinted the football 1,000 times in the last 12 weeks.
That's pursuit drill over and over again. Great defense and a great effort by that young man. A great lesson for all kids watching football. Never give up, never assume that play's gone. It looked like he was going to score, and he stopped that kid from getting in the end zone.
All right, Hinsdale Central is down here at the half. What adjustments do they need to make maybe second half?
Well, I think Hinsdale Central will just have to regroup and make sure that, Whitelaw is carrying the load, run his options. Not only can he run the option, but he throws the ball extremely well, and don't panic. He's got to stay within his game. Hinsdale Central's been playing good defense, and I think if Whitelaw can come through, it's going to be a close game.
All right, we will be back in Champaign with more high school football coming your way. We're at halftime in our 8A state title game. Maine South, the 21-7 lead. Back after this local timeout. $21-7 our halftime score. Maine South the lead over Hinsdale Central. Time now for our Honda halftime highlights. Happy Honda Days from your local Honda dealer. It's a 21-7 lead here at the half. A lot of Maine South highlights. Matt Perez, the 41-yard touchdown to get things started for the Maine South Hawks.
And I think, he's got great cutback ability. He's a tough runner. Took that right up the pipe.
Whitelaw to Alex Kirk here on the 10-yard strike. That made it 7-7.
A little motion play that caught Hinsdale open in the flat. Here's Perez again coming up the middle.
That one made it 14. That one made it 14-7. And here's the star of the game so far, Charlie Goro, 38 yards, makes it 21-7.
Stop and go right there. Unbelievable.
Again, you don't teach that type of move. You know, that's just instinct and athleticism.
And here, one of the stops for the Maine South defense to keep Hinsdale Central off the board twice in the final quarter there.
Good tight defense. Very close play. We look for Mick Culligan probably to have to pick up a load a little bit in that run game on number 21. Maybe go to a little bit more option football if Zajeski is hurt. We'll have to wait and see.
And that would, of course, lead to the call, "Hey, Culligan, man!" I used that joke on kids in the press box. They don't know what that means. I had to use it on the old fellas. 21-7, our halftime score. Maine South, how sweet would this be for Dave and Sarah if they can bring this home? 3 straight second-place finishes for the Hawks in 03, 04, and 05.
Well, I know David has been trying to bring home the big prize. David was a student teacher for me at Addison Trail, and he's a quality person, and hopefully, they can get it done. But don't count out the Red Devils, because Mike DiMatteo he's got his team prepared, and they're very well coached.
Hinsdale looking for their first 2 quarters to play. Maine South looking to beat that second place finish 3 years in a row, trying to get their first for David. It's going to be an interesting second half.
Talking to the kids from Bloomington Central Catholic last night very quickly after the game, they talked about having been here before a year ago. Now, these kids maybe from Maine South haven't been here, but the coaches have. They know the routine, how to get their kids ready. How much of an advantage is that coming to the state championship game?
Familiarity of the surroundings is very important, and I think that, that's an advantage that Maine South has.
Maine South plays in some big audiences. They've been here before. I think they're going to be ready for the second half and the pressure, and hopefully they can stay with their game plan with this lead. It'll be interesting to see how they adapt and what they try to do the second half, up by 2 scores.
Maine South state champions in 5A back in 1995, trying to hang on and win one here tonight. And of course, for Hinsdale Central, they have never been here before, trying to bring home their first state championship. They trail it 21-7, and Charlie Goro leading the way for the Hawks. Can they hang on? Will they win tonight? We shall see in the second half. Dave Bernhardt and Jack McInerney will rejoin us for the call of the second half, coming your way from Memorial Stadium on the IHSA TV network.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium, where Maine South holds that 21-7 halftime lead over Hinsdale Central, and the head coach of the Hinsdale Central Red Devils, Mike DiMatteo, is with our Aaron Bennett.
Thanks a lot, guys. Coach, you down 2 touchdowns heading into the second half. How do you adjust to stop this Maine South run game? A lot of attention to their passing game, and it's been the run game that's gotten you the first half.
Well, the fact of the matter is we're not tackling very well. Matt Perez made us miss a couple, and Goro's taking advantage of us on the edge a bit, and we're just not tackling. And we tackle, and we think we can be in it.
We know that you know what's on the line. We know your players know what's on the line. Playing for the first state title, what did you tell these guys at halftime?
We told them that they have to come out. We got to finish on offense. You can't leave 2 touchdowns on the field, and we just got to play a little bit better on defense. And we do that, and we can make history. And we're just trying to do that.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Good luck in the second half. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Dave Bernhardt, Jack McInerney with you. And Jack, again, we come back to the confidence. Even though that Mike DiMatteo didn't sound real happy, there was still that level of confidence I'm sure he conveyed to the kids in the locker room.
Well, his demeanor has an aura of confidence about him. He knows that they left 2 touchdowns down inside the 10-yard line there, and it's a whole different ball game. And it was very easily to relate that to his kids because they know it too. Now the tackling part is a whole different issue. We saw in the one play where the DB tries to block the runner down instead of tackling him. Those are the type of things that they have to change in the second half. And again, that 3-man front has kind of hurt them a little bit as far as contain on Goro. But I think they've made some adjustments because it's a good football team and it's extremely well coached, and we'll see a difference. Maine South, again, even though they're up 21-7, they also made adjustments. So these are 2 football teams that are extremely well coached. They didn't get here by accident, so we're going to see a very good second half. We might see a few changes, a little niche here and there that might change for Maine South, but the thing is that Goro is making them go. Otherwise, they've really knocked down their passing attack.
Hinsdale Central looking to win their first state football title, but you go all the way back 100 years ago when Hinsdale Central won the second IHSA boys basketball tournament. And of course, Hinsdale Central is such a great athletic tradition. In fact, Olympic swimmer John Kinsella was a 16-year-old at Hinsdale Central when he was swimming in the 1968 Olympics. And John was looking to get a ticket to come on down here to Champaign. And there's a young man looking to make some history for Maine South. That's Charlie Goro. We take a look at the numbers comparing Whitelaw and Goro. Of course, the graphics were built to reflect their passing yardage in this game, not up to their normal averages, but still you see that Whitelaw completing at about 62%. Goro just attempted, and maybe that's the big number, attempting only 7 passes here in the first half.
And part of that is because of the excellent coverage of the Hinsdale Central secondary. And we had talked about that in the open, that some people thought that the defense of Hinsdale Central, if there was a soft spot, it was the secondary, because they thought that the defensive line and linebackers were very good, and maybe Maine South would just have to go after the secondary. But what's happened is the secondary has shut down the receivers, forced Goro to scramble, and he's made the big plays that have put them in the lead.
And isn't that what's been so impressive about these two quarterbacks? Their receivers are covered, yet they just have the calmness, the presence of mind, the poise to make something else happen some other way.
They know the situation. For example, Whitelaw knew exactly in a couple of those occasions how much he needed to keep that drive alive. That 4th down play, he just lowered his shoulder, got the extra yard, picked up the 1st down, kept the drive going. Those are the little things that are very difficult to coach that they have in them about the game. They just have that knowledge, that confidence about themselves.
Hinsdale Central will get this opening kick to start the second half, trailing 21-7.
Field position will be very crucial here. And Hinsdale Central, during the playoffs, has done a great job on their special teams, especially kickoff returns. They've gotten great field position on almost every kick return they've had, and this will be an important one for Hinsdale Central.
Joey Orlando is ready, and this is going to be a high, short kick, and it's going to hop. And the catch is made by Kirk. Alex Kirk is going to get that good field position. Boy, that was a dangerous play when it started. A short kickoff that hits the ground. But Kirk gets good positive yardage, 19 yards, and the ball across the 40.
Well, you always tell those up people, if the ball is over your head, let it go so the guys in the back can come up and make the play. You always want to be moving forward catching a kickoff, not moving backwards.
Offensive unit of Hinsdale Central averaged 6.5 yards per play in the first half, 201 yards, and yet only 7 points to show for it.
4-man front here by Maine South.
Just to loosen things up a little bit, and we see Jake Knowles again with the carry. Here are your rushing yards numbers for Whitelaw and Goro. They've combined for almost 200 yards between them, and look at the averages, 7.6, 9.2. Goro has that exciting touchdown run to his credit.
Very interesting. Now, I'm interested in the front of Maine South against this option attack, spread option by Hinsdale Central. They have a 4-man front. 2 inside guys are stopping the run, and the 2 outside guys are containing the quarterback. And so that's kind of an interesting look. We'll see if the coverage can hold up.
Whitelaw throwing on the run. The battle, and it falls incomplete. He was looking for David Kalsbeek, number 85. Coverage went to Sam Schwarzinski. Now Kalsbeek, he's been battling a bad shoulder off season. He's come back. He's had it re-injured. He's come back in again and then have it re-injured. He's likely going to have surgery in the off season, but he was not going to miss this game. Good coverage by Schwarzinski.
That was an excellent job there of trying to get the ball downfield, but they're step for step with them. And the key is that front of Maine South has put enough pressure on John Whitelaw that he's got pressure throwing the ball. He can't get settled and have good mechanics like right now. He's got a lot of time.
It's probably the most time he's had.
Ball fell out of his hands, so it's just going to be an incomplete forward pass.
That may have been the longest he's had to sit back there in the pocket and just look downfield.
Well, it's interesting right here. You can see, watch how he's going tries to bring the ball back down, and it just falls out of his hand as an incomplete pass.
So now Whitelaw will have to punt.
That is an interesting call, that movement you just saw by the quarterback, because they call it an incomplete pass, but what's to say it's not a fumble? I mean, a lot of people complain and say that, well, it was a fumble. Just because he's a quarterback doesn't mean that should be an incomplete pass.
See, Whitelaw's first punt went for 49 yards. That was his longest punt of the year. This one won't be as long, but it will roll dead at the 25-yard line. This one, 33 yards. And we're ready for a timeout on the field. 11:05 to play here in the third quarter. A 2-touchdown lead for Maine South. Back with more from Memorial Stadium after these local messages. And here's a look at Walgreens' Picture Perfect Moment. Walgreens is a proud sponsor of the IHSA's Do What's Right, Good Sportsmanship campaign. The Maine South band who performed here on the field at the half.
Boy, they were great. They were outstanding.
They are a good one. I have seen them many times. Perez to start it on the give from Goro, and the pile continues to move before it's turned back, a gain of almost 5. Peeling himself up the bottom of the pile, number 2, Eric Alexander. 5'10", 185-pound senior, rebuckling his helmet up. Charlie Bliss, offensive coordinator for Maine South. What a relationship he and Charlie Goro have. Bliss, a Chicago firefighter, and many times Goro will go to the firehouse on Sundays to look at game tape. Pass incomplete on the coverage, number 24, Brian Connor. He's been busy tonight. This is for Albiddy.
This is just a throw right here where the receiver, the ball is right there, and he tries to turn before he catches the football. Ball was right on the money, and he just drops it because he's not prepared to catch it. He's trying to make a play before he catches the football.
It was John Alvidi, who now splits out to the left of the formation for Maine South. 3 receivers to the right, the wide side of the field. 3rd and about 5.
There's a bubble screen.
They get the block and to the outside, and did they turn him in time? Joey Orlando the catch. I think they did get him short. Ooh, this is going to be very interesting. They're going to put it right on the stripe.
Just see the little bubble screen out to the back, going out of the back. You see the blocks by the 2 wide receivers. All they do is kick their defenders out to create an alley right up between them, right in there. That's where he's supposed to go, right up in there. Nice job by both of the wide receivers blocking, and also an excellent job by Hinsdale Central getting over there and pursuing. I think he's going to be about a half a yard short.
They're going to bring these chains all the way across. That last tackle goes to Garrett Cava, and he had help in the end from Sean O'Grady.
Now we're about 3 miles away from this up here, but I'm going to say he's about a half a yard.
Ooh.
I didn't see a...
Well, they're not holding the chain, so that's first down. They had that chain. They just dropped that chain in a hurry and then picked it back up. That is first down. They had enough.
It was close, very close. I'm trying to make up for my lack of being right on my shot of looking at that.
It's all about damage control, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
There's about 2 minutes gone here in the third quarter. First possession of this half for Maine South.
Again, 3 wide receivers always to the wide side of the field and then split down to the short side.
Goro will go nowhere this time.
Now that's really the first time that they've really done a job of containing him. He wanted to scramble, and the outside defensive ends did not let it happen. You can see right here that they're double teaming on Pat Klieg in the middle, and he wants to run, but there's nowhere for him to go. Nice job by Brendan Sullivan, number 34, the inside middle linebacker, 6'1", 207-pound senior.
Boy, that was a nice job. Nice shot. You just saw Sullivan holding his ground, let Goro come to him. No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10.
See, they're trying to make some adjustments here.
Sent Perez into the slot.
He's open.
Goro wanted to run, and the feet went out from underneath him.
Hinsdale Central is very fortunate because Perez was wide open down the middle of the field. He moved over into the slot, and he just never got the ball to him because he got open right there. There's nobody near him. Another Good job there by Brendan Sullivan holding his ground. And Goro trying to make a cut. Hinsdale was very fortunate on that play.
You may see that one a little bit later. Now Perez will join Goro in the backfield. Play action. Goro, another pump. Get about 3. A lot of activity for a 3-yard gain.
Gain of 3 yards.
You know, we spoke earlier about him being a system player, but I tell you, he's one heck of an athlete. You can see him right now just outrunning the pressure and just making something happen, but he's smart enough not to force it into coverage.
You know, and I think, again, that's what's so impressive about several of the quarterbacks that we've seen here this weekend is their presence. They know where defenders are. They know where their own teammates are. Hinsdale Central forces the punt, and a fair catch is called for by Connor. The Red Devils to take over at the 8:10 mark following that 32-yard punt. We've got a break on the field. We'll take a break here as well. IHSA TV Network, the 8A Championship. And the Red Devils are ready to make it happen from their 30-yard line, chasing a 2-touchdown lead here from Maine South. This is Zajeski in the backfield, but he's used as a decoy. They get it to Kirk, and he can't quite slip the tackle of Ronnie Muck. Well, they brought Zajeski in. They faked the handoff to him, but he's only carried a couple of times tonight.
This is just a long pitch out is what it amounts to.
Alex Kirk has been a busy man tonight. That was his 6th catch of the evening. Matt Perez on the evening, he's not caught any balls. He came into this game for Maine South as their 3rd leading receiver.
Got a man wide open.
And the catch is made. Down on his back is Kirk. And that's the first down for Hinsdale Central. 24 yards on the pass from Whitelaw.
This is a good job of hanging in there and getting the ball up in the air. It's about a 44-yard pass in the air. And he was open initially, but John didn't see him, and so that's why the ball hung up a little bit. But an excellent catch right there by Alex Kirk, 6'1", 170-pound junior.
Kirk came in with 496 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. He's added 1 here tonight, and he has been the go-to man for Whitelaw. Here come the flags.
That hurts.
You look for a little bit of a spark.
Full start, offense. 5.
And it just takes you back 5, and it changes the whole feeling about you after the long gain.
Well, those are the kind of plays that give coaches gray hairs when you don't even run a play and lose 5 yards. I mean, it's one thing if there's a snap and a hold or something along those lines with the snap, but when the ball is never snapped and you lose 5 yards, it's very difficult for coaches to handle that.
This part of the field, no stranger to Hinsdale Central. They've just not been able to punch it in other than the 1. This gain will get up to about the 26-yard line, and carry that time is Alexander. Eric Alexander doing double duty tonight.
Now this is what hurts you here. This is a nice 5-yard run, but all it does because of the penalty is get them back to the line of scrimmage, whereas if it had been first and 10, you'd be looking at now 2nd and 5, and that's a big difference when you're down and trying to score in a very stingy defense.
A defense that the last 3 playoff games, not counting tonight, only allowed 13 points. Whitelaw trying to make something happen out of this. And that pump fake was just to buy some time, but the Hawks would have none of it.
Well, again, a well-disciplined defense, not falling for that.
A little bit low and took his eyes off it just a bit.
Took his eyes off it to look down at the coverage, and of course, that allows the defense to react to it.
Nick Catino, number 72, in on the chase, along with Ronnie Muck. Now a 3rd down and 14. Another low snap. Nice cut by Whitelaw. He shakes free again. He will be short of the first down with the ball loose, and we're going the other way. This is Joey Orlando. Orlando, the distance, 78-yard touchdown on a fumble recovery.
Joey Orlando for the Maine South touchdown. 78-yard fumble recovery.
I'd be interested in seeing that again because I thought he was down. But we'll get a good look at it here in the replay, and this is quite a scramble, but he's just having trouble hanging on to the snaps. You can see how loose he was hanging on to the football here. So he's cutting back. I'll tell you what, he was down. That's just my opinion. You can hear the reaction of the crowd.
I was going to say it happens to be an opinion shared by the Hinsdale Central fans.
And again, the officials don't have the privilege of replay as we do in college and up here and in pros. So again, that was a tough call for Hinsdale Central. Very difficult. To be driving to get back into the football game and then have that happen, that's tough.
Well, how about that turn of events? The long pass completion, a 5-yard penalty, 5-yard run, and then a fumble return 78 yards for a touchdown. That turns it around.
Sure does.
Joey Orlando awaiting the opportunity to kick the extra point. He'll have to do it from 5 yards farther back.
Orlando to hit the extra point.
A lot of folks here. State championship game, not too happy, but Maine South fans are liking it. Orlando, good again. A 3-touchdown lead for Maine South. 28-7 on Joey Orlando's 78-yard fumble return for a score, and you knew he was not going to be caught on this one.
He wasn't going to be caught. Let's just see, and of course it's not going to change anything, but you be the judge at home if he is down or not.
Tackle was made by Corby Ryan.
This is a better angle right there.
Now Orlando is gone. Being cheered on by everybody on that Maine South sideline, not a white jersey in sight.
Notice he's not changing angles. Straight down the sideline.
Shortest distance between 2 points.
I learned that in geometry. I think it was the 3rd time I took it.
Excellent. One play, 78 yards. Fumble recovery, touchdown, 28-7, Maine South lead. Bidding for their first state championship since 2000. They had one back 1995. Both those were under head coach Bill Hopkins. Let's go downstairs to Aaron Bennett.
Thanks a lot, guys. You just saw Joey Orlando take that fumble recovery back for a touchdown. He's one of 9 seniors who start for this Maine South offense, and then there's 9 seniors who start for this Maine South defense. A very senior team. They know the tradition that the Hawks bring. They've played through half of this team's 8 straight conference titles. So, guys, you know they're not too rattled tonight.
That is one thing Dave and Sarah has said. He said we're a very calm and poised team, even when they fell behind by 15 points in their opening round game against Stevenson. And Sarah just reminded everybody, hey, just do what we do.
And what was the final score of that game?
Let me check. That would have been 63-29.
After being down. That's interesting.
Hinsdale Central to start just outside their 30.
Tackle by 31, Cody
22-yard return. Alex Kirk go back to business when they hit that line of scrimmage.
Well, there's not going to be any quit in Hinsdale Central, I can tell you that right now. I've seen them the last 3 ball games, and of course they come out of the West Suburban Silver, which is a very tough league, and there won't be any quit. And of course Maine South, obviously they're not even looking up the scoreboard. It's just as if it's 0-0. Everybody's going to play it straight up.
Play action, a pump and go, but the coverage is there. Now here comes Whitelaw. And And they've been zeroed in on John Whitelaw here in the second half, the early moments of the second half.
Maine South is really playing excellent defense. They've averaged offensively over their 13 games coming into today, 45 points as far as an average for all of their games, and they've only given up 11 on an average to all of their opponents. So that's kind of interesting. They're high power, but yet they play excellent defense, and of course the offense gets all the credit for the most part.
I was going to say, and you can bet in those defensive meetings that it's all about we don't get any respect. We don't get respect, so we just continue to do what we do.
I can guarantee you, though, that the Hinsdale coaches knew that they had a great defense. The coaches know that. Oftentimes the fans are just looking at the stats.
Whitelaw hit as he throws. Kirk can't quite reach back to get it. You see the 3 red jerseys right there with him. Whitelaw been under more pressure here in the second half.
They're just trying to make sure he's inside and contained. You can see right there he gets a good hit right at the last second. That could have very easily been face guarding with his back turned and not looking back to the football.
Saw Nick Catino downfield on coverage. Third down and long, and they need 10 yards for a first down. Just 1 of 8 on third downs tonight. The other side, Maine South, is 4 of 7.
Middle screen.
Catch is made, first down, Calsbeek. He will get to the 43-yard line. Davis Calsbeek. 13-yard pickup and a first down.
This is one of the mainstay plays for Hinsdale Central's offense. It's the middle screen while the wide receiver coming up over the middle, coming back against the grain after they get those linebackers to drop out of there. They get the rush by the defensive down lineman, as you saw right there. Creates a big bubble between the defensive linemen and the linebackers who have dropped out to play pass. Perfect area to go into with the screen.
Zajeski in the backfield now for Hinsdale Central. He's only carried couple of times tonight, 2 times for 11 yards. Here's Whitelaw. He'll dump it up, and unable to handle it is Zajeski. Let's watch him get up.
You can see how heavily his ankle is taped right here. He's playing with a lot of pain. See again, John dropping back to screen to the outside because there's so much pressure. Trying to get the ball out here, just a little bit overthrown, but you can see how bad his ankle is. He is just not, based on what I've seen, he's not even 60% right now.
Nope. And the thing you can tell by his body language is he knows it. How frustrating that is after having a great season. As we said, he missed several games, missed 3 regular season games in the first game of the playoffs. Straight up the middle for Whitelaw. Get him in the open field, and here he goes. Look at John Whitelaw. The cut to the outside. Can't quite get there. 52-yard run for the junior quarterback.
These quarterbacks are putting on quite a show of their running ability. You can see it's just a quarterback draw right here. The linemen kick out to rush people. And just a great job here of open field running. You can see right here where he has to cut back. He kind of stumbles right in there, which slows him down and allows the pursuit to catch up to him. This will happen on turf. All of a sudden your foot gets stuck.
And 133 yards rushing now for Whitelaw. And here are the Red Devils again inside the 10-yard line. Twice Maine South has turned them away. First and goal. The pitch. Zajeski. 2 yards and that's it. Orlando with the hit. Also some help from Kevin Karish.
That was an outstanding job of Maine South's defense staying home and taking their responsibilities. The key is Joey Orlando at the top of the screen, number 1. Coming up right there. That's his responsibility as the pitch man, and he is right there to make the play. He did not get suckered down by closing down on the quarterback because that was not his responsibility. Against option teams, you must have defensive responsibilities.
Noel Zajeski, the backfield behind Whitelaw up underneath center. Option. Whitelaw keeps, he stretches, he scores. 4-yard touchdown run for John Whitelaw.
Again, the option play here. Faking the dive to freeze the backers. Great block on cutback, and he just turns up into that lane and gets the ball across the plane of the goal line. Touchdown.
We have an injured player down for Maine South. Take a look, see if we can see what happened. Actually, you'll see the tail end of this play. Whitelaw stretches that ball out of there. So Hinsdale Central is able to punch it in from inside the 10-yard line. And you look at the scoreboard, it says 28-13 with the extra point coming up. And Hinsdale Central fans will think back to the 2 times in the first half they had the ball inside the 10. They might even think back earlier on the first one when they had a chance on the pass to Mick Culligan where he angled rather than taking it up the middle. And with is a bunch of ifs.
A lot of ifs. 2 opportunities there to score. They didn't score on that opportunity. Didn't score after Whitelaw made that great 4th down run. Needed 9 yards, got 9.5 to keep the drive going, but yet they did not score. And then, of course, the questionable fumble recovery for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, it's a completely different ball game because it's been a well-played football game with the exception of those particular plays. I mean, statistically, it's not that far off for either one of the teams as far as time of possession, yardage, or anything else, just the score.
Injured player was Ronnie Muck. He's helped to his feet. Here's the kick from Lutz, and that cuts our lead in half at 28-14 with 3:22 to play here in the 3rd quarter. 2-touchdown lead for Maine South. And by the way, that fumble recovery for a touchdown for Joey Orlando sets a title game record. Previous record set by Metamoran. You had to go way back into the 70s, 1976 to be exact. 72-yard run. So Joey Orlando adds 6 to that. And Doug Neff, the former record holder, he might be home watching right now. Sorry about that, Doug, but Joey Orlando has it. Well, there you go. At 2 touchdowns, the 2 you don't get, plus the 1 on the fumble recovery, and that's one of the reasons Mike DiMatteo said his team's still in the game.
Well, they're still in the game, but the tough part of it is one of their key weapons is missing. It's really, at this point, it's in the hands of John Whitelaw. He does not have a running supporting cast. What I mean by that is Rich Zielinski is out of the game, and he can really not contribute much to the running attack at this point, so it's going to be up to Whitelaw's legs and Whitelaw's arm to get Hinsdale back into this ball game.
Well, as far as his legs are concerned, Whitelaw has run the ball 14 times for 136 yards and a touchdown. For his arm, he's completed 11 of 21 for 169 yards and a touchdown. So nearly 300, actually just a shade over 300 yards in total offense from the junior, John Whitelaw, and he still has 15 minutes to play.
And the fact that they've been able to just basically key on him the entire game, and he still has that kind of production.
Ball bouncing around, and it's free for a moment. And that was the intent by the Red Devils. Everybody else getting a little extra action in there, but I believe Maine South at the bottom of the pile. Could be Corby Ryan at the bottom.
This is just a squib kick right down the middle, hoping to get some bad bounces and something happen. You can see it's a knuckleball, and very fortunate they were able to pick that up.
Maine South to have it at their own 30-yard line. Another crucial possession.
Another crucial possession, and now they're changing the formation here, which Hinsdale Central adjusts to.
Looking option, but Goro will go nowhere. Tried to make the right decision, but Jason Rafferty, number 10, helped him. 6'3", 195-pound junior just slammed the door on Goro.
This is one of the uglier plays that they have run today. He just really does not make much of a play here, but just a nice job by number 10, Jason Rafferty, coming up and making the play, and then all of a sudden he gets the rest of the help from his defensive line.
Alviti somewhat helped out Rafferty by blocking Rafferty into the play. Loss of a yard. Nothing right. Flinging it left. And a short pickup to Tyler Benz.
That was good reaction right there by Charlie Goro going over that secondary coverage. That was not his initial. You can see he's looking right. He's covered well, and he goes back to his secondary target, makes a good throw, and they pick up 7 yards. And if it's your secondary receiver and you can pick up 7 yards with him, that's quite a read on his part.
Crucial third down here, 3rd and 4, as we wind our way down to the conclusion of this third quarter. Each team has scored a touchdown in this period. Goro needs 4.
Oh, there's a clip.
Flag comes out. Goro flips it downfield. A catch is made at the 40-yard line, but this one's going to come back.
It's to number 1, Joey Orlando. There's a penalty flag on the play.
Joey Orlando got hit pretty well in there, too.
Was bent over a little bit. And this not only takes away a big gain, it will make it 3rd and about 19. And a field position will be favoring Hinsdale Central if they can get a defensive stop here.
Block in the back, offense, 10 yards, still 3rd down.
It'll be 3rd down and 14. We'll take a look here as
right there.
Pretty obvious in the middle of the field as Alan Cameron was the man being clipped.
And right in front of the official.
You know, lost in that was what a great throw that was by Goro, squaring himself up, and a great catch by Orlando.
Well, it's just plain catch for these guys. They do it every day for months at a time.
Well, since that clip took place well behind the line, it's actually 3rd down and 24. Goro wants it back. Has a man open, it's Orlando, but you can see by the chains he will be about 5, maybe 6 yards short of the first down, but Maine South able to get some field position out of it a little bit after the pass of 19 yards.
Again, you can see him looking downfield. He goes to a secondary receiver right there who just drifted up the sideline after the coverage cleared out. And again, I'm not a big fan of DBs blocking people out or trying to knock them down by blocking. I like to see them wrapping them up. I think they see too much of that on television. I'm sure their coaches aren't teaching them that.
Goro doing the punting here tonight. He'll kick this one out of bounds. Normally, Neil McConville does the punting for the Redhawks. But it will be Hinsdale Central football with 1:11 to play following that punt of 32 yards, and they will start it from their own 33-yard line.
It's really kind of interesting how in our pregame we talked about the quarterbacks and how crucial they were based on these type of offenses, and it certainly has come to fruition here as we look at the stats with Goro having 122 yards rushing and John Whitelaw having 136 yards rushing. Both of them have a touchdown apiece.
Hinsdale Central has outgained Maine South tonight, yet they're 14 points short on the scoreboard. 2 yards there will be added to their offensive total. They'll be up to 328 yards now. John Whitelaw, we talk about the 136 yards rushing. He has probably 3 times that amount just running to the sideline after each play to get the play call.
These formations are really interesting to watch the adjustments that each defense makes. And they're spreading out the field. Great balance in formation.
Oh. Had his man for just a moment, and the catch attempted by John Lyons could not hang on. 3rd down and 7. Clock stops. 29 seconds to play in the third quarter.
Well, Hinsdale has had outstanding balance in their 13 games coming in the state championship game. They've averaged 224 yards rushing per game and 155 yards passing for 380 yards total offense. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good average and very good balance.
Looking for 7 yards. And now looking for more. Overthrown by about 3 yards on the receiving end of that would have been Davis Calsby.
It's good coverage there. Step for step with him.
And we've talked about the evolution of the passing game in high school football. How about the evolution of the demands on the secondaries of high school defenses?
Well, you know, it goes hand in hand with how the offenses have gone. When you go to these 7-on-7 in the summertime, receivers are down there playing catch with the quarterback, but the DBs are out there playing defense. So in many cases, 9 out of 10 coaches will tell you when you play in the 7-on-7 leagues, you're getting more out of it for your defense than you are for your offense.
Here's Whitelaw again. He'll decide to kick it. Nearly touched a Maine South player and gets a pretty nice hop here. It's going to come down near and just inside the 20-yard line. You know, that was another byproduct there as you saw Whitelaw. We saw him with a big booming kick out of that sprint out formation. This time he had that slow roller that almost hit one of the Maine South linemen who was over there to try to prevent Whitelaw from making anything funny happen.
It almost looked like one of your drives off the tee when you scull one down the
I would have been happy with the 45-yard drive. That was the length of the punt for Whitelaw. Final 12 seconds here of the third quarter. Here comes Gore to this side, a run all the way. He takes a little bit of a hit there as he's driven down by Mike Owens. And that takes us to the end of the quarter. Joey Orlando, a 78-yard fumble recovery for Maine South. John Whitelaw countered with a 3-yard run. And we go into the fourth quarter. The difference still 14, Maine South on top of Hinsdale Central. And we've got the fourth quarter coming up after these words. Happy to have Walgreens along all season long. The sponsors of the IHSA's Do What's Right campaign, the sportsmanship campaign. Well, we start the fourth quarter, Maine South football. The wind has been a crosswind all night. It's been absolutely no factor. Here's Matt Perez. We haven't called his number much. Perez has the first down, though, and he just keeps on moving forward.
A nice counter play. Hinsdale Central flew out with the quarterback. Charlie Gorel took off in one way and just handed back to Matt Perez the other way, which negates that pursuit, and just a nice play calling there and a nice run by Matt Perez.
It's his 9th carry this evening. He has a 41-yard touchdown run to his credit. 2 touchdowns on the night. And a first down for Maine South. And they will just obviously like to build on that 28 points they have on the board, but they'll be happy to see that clock continue to move. Perez again. He's halfway there to another first down. We can take a look at the third quarter stats brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. And if you did not see that first line, 28-14, I don't know if you could look at these numbers and say who you thought might be winning this game.
You really wouldn't, because an awful lot of those total yard plays were big scrambles because of good defense by the secondary, and Maine South was able to scramble. But yet you look at the turnovers, and one of those resulted in a 70-yard touchdown run. So those are key factors in the outcome at this point of the ball game.
Goro trying to turn the corner, and he will be close to first down. In fact, they will step it right there at the first down marker. There's times when Goro is created, and there's times where he has just said, this is all me. This was one of them.
You can see right there where he was reading the option. Who he was reading was 73, Mike Owens. Mike Owens closed down with the ball fake, and then Goro went outside him. And Goro has shown us a lot of speed that we knew he had, but it really has proven to be true tonight.
I like how our folks in the truck, our graphics people, can make the adjustments on the fly. We've changed the passing graphic for these two quarterbacks, the passing comparison into a running comparison. That's very impressive. We do give you the passing stats as well.
Now that's interesting as you look at that completion and attempts. 11 attempts for Maine South, who most people think throw the ball on every down. But Dave and Sarah is taking what Hinsdale will give them, and of course Goro has been forced to scramble and has done a great job doing it. So interestingly enough, their passing game isn't what it normally is.
They need less than a yard, and this will be very close to Perez. Well, and for that reason, when you see 11 passing attempts from any Maine South team, whether it was Sean Price's team or Tyler Knight's team at quarterback or now Charlie Goro's, you have to say, you know what, that's secondary. Whoever we're playing, that's secondary. The linebackers have done a great job in coverage. And it is a first down. The chains will move, and once the ball is ready for play, the clock will as well. We've had great weather here this weekend. It's And a wonderful weekend to play here on Thanksgiving weekend, late in November.
Following up on your point as far as 11 attempts, they average 25 attempts per game and 18 completions, so they certainly are out of their realm right now.
Here's Goro again. He beats his man to the corner, and Charlie Goro will just run out of bounds. Boy, and you can see why he anchored that 4x200 relay team. What a great athlete. In fact, Dave Sarah says he's the best athlete he's ever coached. His overall athletic ability sets him apart in addition to his uncanny ability to make game decisions. This time, he scoots it around the right end for 19 yards.
Well, you can see right there the fake and what happened there. 26 and 73 closed down, and he was able to get outside them for the nice gainer. And that's what that option read is out of that spread formation. He's just reading that outside man. If he closes on the dive fake, then he'll go right behind him and around him.
No gain on that play for Goro, who in the first game of these playoffs, we said that 63-point game against Stevenson, threw for 6 touchdowns and 377 yards. He rushed for 109 yards the second round against Loyola, threw 3 touchdowns and 233 yards against Barrington in the quarterfinals, and completed 22 of 28 passes for 184 yards in the semis against Bartlett.
I guess he does what he needs to do, and tonight his legs have led him to this point, to a potential state championship here.
See his numbers, 217 total yards, 146 on the ground. There may be more following this play. Near the 30-yard line. He can add about 7, maybe 8 yards to his total.
You know what I like about how he runs, Dave? He doesn't hesitate. It's not like he does not want to run. Just watch that fake right now. He puts it away. He wants to go. And, of course, it's not like he's not a big kid. He's 6'2", 192 pounds. So I'm very impressed with his running style. He gets his shoulders down. He gets them upfield, and he lowers his shoulder and gets that extra yard or two. I'm impressed with his running style.
Now Charlie Guro has passed Steve Walker in the individual rushing totals in an 8A championship game. Steve Walker had 148. Charlie Guro now with 155. The ironic part, they're both quarterbacks. Walker, of course, quarterback for state champion Lockport in 2002.
That was an excellent throw right there from Charlie Goro to Matt Perez. And again, this is not an easy throw. He's got him on the move, and he just lays him up. And it's basically like a toss sweep, only the running back has a head start out there in the flat, and he gets the ball. And you can see right here, a nice move by Perez, cutting back inside, picking up the extra couple yards and a first down for Maine South.
They are doing exactly what they needed to do. That was the 9th play of this drive. It's already covered 54 yards. This drive has consumed 3 minutes and 12 seconds with a 28-14 lead.
This kind of formation puts a lot of pressure on the defense to make tackles in space. What I mean by that is they spread out. You don't have a lot of help, so you become man on man when it comes to making a single tackle. It's not getting a lot of help from your neighbors. See right here, it's just a little cutback dive for Perez. Nice job of hard running right there, and a real good tackle coming up there by Mike Rodriguez.
Ball is just inside the 17-yard line. Now 6 inches short of a first down. Flag goes down as Goro turns the corner. He would have enough for the first down before he was brought down by Alexander.
I think it's a motion call.
We've had 8 penalties combined here tonight. This will be the 9th. And there is your motion indication.
Now this kind of, there's ebb and flows to football in high school ranks.
Illegal motion, offense, 5 yards, still second down.
And the spread formation has come into play more often in the last couple of years. I mean, we talked earlier in the game that we did in the 5A where Ken Leonard has been running it since year 2000, but more teams are starting to pick up on that. But again, it's an adjustment of personnel. If you have to think about the personnel you have to run this particular offense. It's great to spread out by formation, the secondary, and get the linebackers out of there, but you got to have people that can run and that can throw when you're going to run this offense.
To the corner for Alviti, and he's got it. What a great throw and a catch. John Alviti, the 22-yard touchdown reception from Charlie Goro.
That was just an outstanding throw, right on the pylon.
You'll see Alviti do a great job of screening his man off the ball as well.
That ball was in the air 15 yards before he actually ever made his cut. He put it right on the pylon. Outstanding throw and an even better catch. And it was thrown only where it could be thrown because the coverage was not that bad at all. It's amazing the progress the high school players have made as far as mechanics and technique.
Orlando's kick is hooked to the right side, so the score remains 34-14. Hinsdale South 7-17 away from a state championship. And your defensive play of the game is brought to you by the Illinois Army National Guard. And there it is, the fumble and the return by Joey Orlando, 78 yards for a score and a state championship game record distance.
And also the turning point of the football game. I have no doubt that when people look back on this game that they'll say that that definitely was probably the turning point.
Well, that's what turned a 21-7 halftime lead into a 28-7 Maine South lead. No room there for Brian Connor. Maine South did what they wanted to do. They wanted to take up some time. They wanted to take up some distance. Mission accomplished. 11 plays, 80 yards, 455. That beautiful pass from Goro to Alviti has stretched this lead to 20.
Well, it was a great job of play calling from the standpoint of they started running the ball to milk the clock a little bit, and then they got a scramble by Goro, and then they went to the play action, and he put the ball right on the money for a great throw and a great catch and 6 points.
They're making adjustments on the scoreboard clock. They bring it back to 7:08. Now, Hinsdale Central work to do, and they must do it in a hurry. Whitelaw comes up gunning. Has a completion. Finds his man. That's David Benasiak. No huddle.
2-minute offense starting at 7 minutes. But this shows you how well coached they are.
Again, a quick bullet pass. This time it's Alex Kirk on the receiving end.
What a great job right there by John Whitelaw. He's sprinting out. He's going to throw. Trying to turn those. Now he's going away from his left-handed. Now stops right here and just dumps it right in here. Nice throw, but a better reaction of the defense or the receiver coming back to him knowing he was in trouble.
Whitelaw, we mentioned a basketball player, point guard. He'll get that season started as soon as he's ready to go. Also, baseball player. And, you know, Downers Grove North coach John Wander last year called him the most athletic sophomore he had ever seen. He throws over the middle, and there's a big hit. Oh, how did Kirk hang on off of that hit from Ronnie Muck? Oh, baby.
That was just an outstanding throw. Look at him step into the throw. A little wobbly, but right on the money. That's a big hit. You can see how he was bent back on that one. My back is aching right now.
19-yard completion. Oh, man.
Flexibility of youth, Dave.
He bounces right up. Whitelaw will stop the clock, get out of bounds, just inside the 45-yard line. I couldn't even dream of doing that. I could barely bend forward that far.
You know what they would do there? They'd be out there putting me in a body cast out there. They wouldn't even bring me to the sideline. They'd have to put me in a body cast out there on the field to get me to the sideline after that hit.
And again, I believe, Jack, in all the years we've been down here, at least in Champaign, that this has been some of the hardest hitting that we have seen.
I would agree with you.
Not just in this game, we're talking about all the games.
All of the games.
Whitelaw with time. Again, the shot over the middle. Lefty is starting to drill it. Again, he gets it to John Lyons, 14 yards on that pickup.
Nice catch going across the field. Nice hands catch.
You've seen Whitelaw's running ability. Quite likely will be the most recruited quarterback next year. He's just a junior. They say his passing game is coming along. You can see why. He floats this one. He has a man, and that's Alex Kirk, and that's a touchdown.
What composure. What composure on that one. He starts sprinting out, stops before he crosses the line of scrimmage, and dumps the ball in for 6.
30-yard touchdown pass to
What's
Alex
the
Kirk.
sense of where he is here, Dave? He's floating outside, going upfield. Right here he starts to run, stops before he crosses the line of scrimmage, just dumps it over the top of the linebackers right there.
He was 2 yards from the line of scrimmage, going full speed forward. You don't coach that. You just absolutely can't coach that. I mean, you have to have that sense. Extra point by Lutz is good. 34-21. Hinsdale Central took care of business. We're not done yet with 6:01 to play in this game. Back with more after these local messages. It's time now for our Buick Pontiac GMC Drive of the Game. Now is the time of the year to get great model year-end deals on our fuel-efficient cars, trucks, and SUVs. See your Buick Pontiac GMC dealer. Alex Kirk, the touchdown. John Whitelaw, the pass. Your Drive of the Game happened on our most recent touchdown.
And Alex Kirk, number 9, is only a junior, and he has 9 catches, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Whitelaw's a junior, and most of his receivers are juniors.
Flag down. The onside kick attempt. Well, that's what all the coaches across the state do right now, right? We'll get the call here from Howard
Dead
Owens.
ball, encroachment, receivers, 5 yards.
All the coaches across the state check everybody's rosters now.
Oh, absolutely. Who's coming back, who's not coming back, what positions do they play.
So on the receiving team, it was encroachment. Got inside that 10-yard area, and you know you're getting an onside kick here again with 6:01 left. Kava has it all angled up.
I'm very impressed with Maine South. They're an outstanding football team. But I'm also very impressed with Hinsdale Central and how much they continue to stay after Maine South here.
Interesting onside kick. Maine South appears to have come up with this. Kava had it all angled out that he was going to the far side of the field. He kicked it down the middle, and he was the man that tried to block Maine South off the ball.
The man that came up with it looked like number 32, Corby Ryan. You can see this scrum right in the middle of the field here. There's a little dive on the pile. And then there goes Corby Ryan, number 32, with the football. To say at this point that Maine South will take some time off the clock, their running game is efficient enough that they can do that. And of course tonight, that's been most of their mainstay has been their running game.
You know, Maine South has not turned the ball over tonight. That's what Hinsdale Central will be looking for. Here's Perez. He bangs his way up for nearly a 10-yard game. Matt Perez up over the 100 mark before that run.
That's big to have on a first down like this, to get 10 yards in the first play from scrimmage. And of course you can see right there how well he gets those shoulders upfield. He does not need a lot of room. That's just a little cutback right there. He gets flow going in one direction. The whole idea of that is to get the linebackers to go over one more gap thinking you're going in one direction. You cut back against the grain.
It's been an offensive game. Maine South with 358 total yards. Hinsdale Central 410. That will be enough for a first down in midfield. One thing you'll have noticed, we say hard hitting and some big hard hits, but there's been constant hard hitting all night. There was another one right there. A little extra pushing in this game after the play.
Well, they're both teams are very competitive. Obviously, to get to this point, you have to be, and they're not going to stop playing till that whistle's blown.
First down, Perez can make people miss.
The whole idea here is the first guy, wrap him up, and then everybody after that grab for the football, try and knock that football loose.
Goro with 155 yards rushing. Perez with 116 on the other side. For Hinsdale Central, the ground game belongs to Whitelaw with 139 yards on the ground. Whitelaw has also thrown for 248, 140 of which have gone to Alex Kirk. Second down, we come up on 4 minutes to play in this championship game. Here comes Goro. There goes Goro. First down to the 36-yard line.
He actually is faster than anybody else in the field that we've seen so far. I mean, when he takes off like this, there's no throw here. This is just a straight quarterback sweep. You see how well he hangs onto the football. He runs hard.
6 feet 2 inches tall, 192 pounds.
I think Vanderbilt got a real steal when they recruited him and signed him and got him to commit to going there. I think they've got an outstanding quarterback in Charlie Goro.
I was just going to say, if you're a Vanderbilt Commodore fan, you kind of like what's coming your way. And a lot of movement on that front.
Now that could be against Zach Tim, the right tackle. He might have moved a little soon here. He looks apprehensive, as if it's going to be called against him.
There's no hiding out there, though, is there?
Dead ball, false start, red.
Number 74, Zach Tim, 6'3", 220-pound senior, two-way player, but yet he's still anxious to get off the football.
We've played all but 3 minutes and 34 seconds here in this 8A championship game. Maine South, they run a number of players out there both ways. Each year, Dave and Sarah probably has 3, 4, 5 players that will not leave the field. So it's 1st and 15. Goro giving ground. Gets it to Alvidi. Alvidi keeps on moving. Look at him go. Inside the 30-yard line. Oh, my. John Alvidi, 6'2", 170-pounder, just took people along for the ride.
Another job here by Goro, showing what a great athlete he is. Turning, but just a nice job by the receiver to come back, knowing he's in trouble. He was further down the field, but yet he came back to him. And now this is just a great effort here, second effort. Coming up to 2nd and short now. You can see everybody's punching their ticket here to get on that train.
We need a couple of yards for yet another first down. Maine South has 19 of them tonight. Goro didn't like the looks of that one. He got down in a hurry.
It's the first time I've seen him do that. I guess he wants to be able to lift that trophy.
Hinsdale Central will take a timeout. It will come with 2:12 to play. And Maine South that far away from claiming their first state title since the year 2000. A state record, most yards on punt returns, Hinsdale Central. 6 returns, 112 yards tonight. Take a look here at Memorial Stadium, the site of the 2008 state football finals, 10th year here at the University of Illinois.
And the 35th anniversary of the state finals in the state of Illinois.
Gurrow had a man open in the middle. He goes to Alviti to the outside. Alviti again will take people along, and he's not done. Alviti on his feet, and he can't quite make it to the goal line, and he will hear about that as he's being helped to his feet. Mike Cummins gives him a hand. 28 yards on the pass.
See Charlie Gurrow just dumping it out here. Nice hands catch, but watch the effort right here. Poor tackling to go along with the effort.
He was starting to reach that ball out when he was at the 5-yard line.
Look at that. Three players had really good shots at him.
Ball is at the 3. Maine South looking to go over the 40-point mark here. Perez head down, driving forward.
Well, they're apparently want to make a statement here. They've averaged 45 points a game throughout the season.
Dave and Sarah glances up at that clock. Came up short as you can come in 2003, 2004, and 2005. 3 consecutive second-place finishes to Lockport, Downers Grove North, and Lincoln Way East. You see how close that ball is to the goal line for yet another score for the Hawks. Gurrow tries his best, gives that extra little wiggle. And it is not enough yet as we're under a minute to play.
Nice shot there of Jason Rafferty, number 10, getting up. Patrick Klieg, 66, Mike Owens, Alan Cameron. They're not quitting.
It's a very composed Maine South sideline, isn't it?
Well, I've been impressed with both the composure of both of these teams and their coaching staffs.
Perez up over the top. And that one's good enough for the score and 40 points for Maine South. 40-21. And now they're getting excited.
You can see just a wedge blocking for him going up over the middle. Same blocking scheme as it is for quarterback sneak, only they're just trying to wedge it out to let him go up over the top. And he deserves it. He's put on an exhibition here of hard running. Matt Perez, 119 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That was a 10-play, 61-yard drive that took up 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Orlando punches this one straight through. They were quiet on the sidelines, but here comes the Gatorade dunk. Look out. Oh, that feels pretty good. That feels awfully good to Dave and Sarah right now. How frustrated he was for 3 consecutive years. He took over for Phil Hopkins. Hopkins coached his last game as a state title team. That was in 2000 with the 27-8 win over Glenbard North, and Sarah took over, and just like that, they were back here in quick succession, and until tonight, it was Dave and Sarah looking for his first title. He just has to count down 16 more seconds. And for that Maine South coaching staff, how special this is. 6 of their coaches are Maine South graduates. That means just something, just that little extra. And the Maine South fans are clearing out their cheering section of students. They're making their way to the South Horseshoe here at Memorial Stadium because that's where the trophy platform is located. The band is set up shop down there. They are ready to do some celebrating.
Well, and deservedly so. They have an outstanding football team. They had an outstanding season, and they played extremely well in this state championship game. And my hat also is off to Hinsdale Central, who most didn't expect after their 7-2 regular season to get this far, but they were on a roll in the playoffs and did a tremendous job, and they certainly were exciting tonight. And I think that they'll be back. Their program is doing extremely well, and Mike DeMio is doing a great job with them, and they'll be back.
Well, Hinsdale Central to get here had to defeat 3 higher seeded teams. As a lot of people say,
In order to win one, you have to get here first. In other words, you have to get here and go through the experience. So now Hinsdale Central, the extra 5 weeks of practice. We've talked about that in many different ways. Our offense on the field, what a night for John Whitelaw. We'll update you on his stats in a little bit. Quarterback for Hinsdale Central. The completion across midfield. Clock will stop just to set the chains. They're trying to keep the Maine South players on their sideline. It was a first down catch. So we'll have one more play to run if they decide even to snap the ball here. And here comes the clock winding down. And with that, your 2008 Class 8A state champions from Park Ridge, the Maine South Hawks.
They were impressive. There's no doubt about that.
They came into this season as a top-ranked team. Not only did they hold it all season long, they made sure that all those folks who knew everything about Maine South were not wrong. They cap it off with this 41-21 championship game victory. It is their third state title in their history, the third in the last 13 years. First one took place at Hancock Stadium in 1995 and 2000, right here at Memorial Stadium, and in 2008. The Hawks get another one.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's an impressive year when you can go through the schedule that these teams play nowadays and go through the schedule undefeated and win a state championship at the conclusion of that season. That's just a really special thing to be able to do.
Very special to the head coach of Maine South, Dave and Sarah. He is with Aaron Bennett right now.
Thanks a lot, guys. A very happy Dave and Sarah right now. Coach, 8 years here at Maine South. You're 90-12. The one thing missing was a state title. You got it done tonight.
Yeah, we went 0-3. We changed some things up this year, but it comes down to the kids. These guys were so well prepared. Hats off to my coaching staff, so well prepared. But it comes down to the boys making the plays, and they were phenomenal tonight.
And you guys really took what Hinsdale gave you. You didn't force the pass game when it wasn't there. You ran the ball, and you ran it successfully.
Charlie Bliss called a great game on offense, running the ball. That's what, like you said, was there. And defensively, Coach Maggs was phenomenal making his calls. This is to Park Ridge. This is to the whole community. It's for my dad. Way to go, Dad.
Congratulations,
Thanks.
Coach. Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys, back up to you.
Dave and Sarah, the head coach for Maine South, and he did change things up this year. Other years they came down in the afternoon of the 8A championship game. This year he said, we're going to go on Friday, and they stayed in the Bloomington area. And we mentioned earlier today they took a little field trip. They took a field trip to Hancock Stadium where they won the state title in 1995 over Mount Carmel, relived some memories, and now tonight they made some of their own. Let's go back down to Aaron.
Thanks, guys. Here with our country financial player of the game, it is Maine South quarterback Charlie Goro. Charlie, a lot of people expected you to do it with your arm, but you showed you got a little leg tonight. You did it successfully tonight.
Yeah, everyone knows we're a passing team, but I think tonight we came out with our game plan was a pass, but we just took it. We just took what they gave us, and we just ran the ball as much as we could, and it worked out.
Next step for you, you're headed to Vanderbilt. What excites you the most about that next step for your football career?
Their up-and-coming program, how well they played this year, and just a chance to start early.
What's it feel like to be a state champion?
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I worked 8 years for this, and it's finally here. This is a dream come true. Honestly, it is.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Go celebrate. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Charlie Goro is known as offensive coordinator Charlie Bliss since the 6th grade. And Charlie had said, from the first time I met him, he's talking about Charlie Bliss, I couldn't wait to wear a Hawks uniform. And that's so true of so many players for Maine South, the youth program. It's for this moment, these moments right here, right now, that those kids dream about when they're youngsters.
Well, that's starting more and more in the suburban areas throughout the state where they're having these youth programs, and they'll start running the offenses and the defenses of the high school and the communities in which they live. And these kids go to the games, they allow them in free. They're the ball boys, they're the managers, and they'll play in that game field occasionally. And it's just part of learning that tradition and becoming ingrained and wanting to be part of the Maine South program or the Hinsdale Central program. And that's how these kids just evolve through the programs and become, like Charlie Goro said right there, he's been waiting 8 years for this to happen. I just hope that has nothing to do with ineligibility, but
We're not talking about your athletic academic career, but you look at the Maine South guys, and this is the moment, and you say to yourself, enjoy this moment. Now, they will get to relive this by way of the DVDs of this particular game and the memories, but for this moment, feel what it's like, because only 8 teams across the state of Illinois can do what these guys are doing right now.
It's really a special time. It's a special time for the players, cheerleaders, the coaches, the community, everybody involved in that program.
Now on the other side of the field, down at the near side, Hinsdale Central, their team is amassed in front of their fans, in front of their people that came down from the Hinsdale area. And you take a look at them right there. Tough to do what they're doing and face their fans after looking up the scoreboard that says a 41-21 defeat. But as we know in high school athletics, it's not just about the scoreboard. There's a lot of life lessons that are learned in this game. Let's take a look at our Menards final statistics. Brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Big yardage numbers here tonight for these two clubs. You look at the total offense, 839 yards combined.
Wow.
That's getting it done with 62 points on the board. You see how the numbers are split up. Rushing and passing individually. If you scroll through these, we can tell you that John Whitelaw, the quarterback for Hinsdale Central, completed 17 of 29 passes for 262 yards. He had an interception, and he threw 2 touchdowns. Whitelaw also with 15 carries for 139 yards on the ground, and he scored a touchdown. He threw the ball 9 times to Alex Kirk for 140 yards and 2 scores. Charlie Goro, 132 yards in the air, 164 yards on the ground. Here's our Honda postgame highlights. Happy Honda Days from your local Honda dealer. You're looking at John Whitelaw, something that he did a lot tonight, looking to create. And the lefty will just float it out here to Alex Kirk, connecting on that touchdown pass. Both of Whitelaw's touchdown passes going to Kirk, and the other way, Charlie Goro coming into your screen. John Alviti with the great catch off the great throw for the touchdown from Goro to Alviti. That was the 1 touchdown pass from Charlie Goro tonight. So Charlie Goro's numbers, he ends up with 38 touchdown passes on the season. And there your Maine South Hawks, and no, they're on camera right now.
They're excited. We saw an awful lot of offense out here tonight, but we saw an awful lot of outstanding hitting, a very physically played football game.
You know, and that's the one thing you get, I think, when you get to the 8A game, because it's predominantly a Chicago suburban area. That's where the largest schools come from. These teams know each other so well, because all you have to do is pick up a paper every day. You're reading about Maine South. You're reading about Hinsdale Central. It's much more familiar.
Well, the other part of that, too, is in the summertime, there's an awful lot of summer passing leagues and tournaments that go on, and a lot of these schools compete against each other in the summertime. So they know who's good and who's the good quarterback and the best wide receiver. So they know each other's programs, and they actually know each other personally from these competitive summer league programs that go on throughout the summer up in Chicago.
Awaiting Hinsdale Central to make their way to the stands. We looked at the total offensive numbers here in this ball game. The 839 yards, that fell just short of the state record that was set in 2001. That would be, it was 861 yards, and the teams in that game were...
I believe the team was Naperville Central, who came into the game 13-0, but was defeated by Downers Grove South, 34-31 for the state championship in 8A.
You are all over that, Mr. Assistant Coach from Downers Grove South. And that ring blinds me every time I see it. There you see the medals being given out to the runners-up here in 2008 in Class 8A. Mike DiMatteo, the head coach, and that's been a program there. He's been there 4 years, really bringing it back on track. Not that they haven't been, but it's been some ups and downs, some bumps along the way in the last decade or so.
Well, you know, I think that it actually comes to a point when, for some reason, people think that if you don't get here, you're not successful, which is the furthest thing from the truth. They have been, over the years, very successul. But oftentimes now people judge it on, well, how many times you've been in a state championship game. And that's not the way to judge a program or a coach or a community.
First time they've ever made it here in the state football finals, and that's what they will bring home. It may feel a little bit heavier than they wanted it to feel, only because of the expectations they had of being able to hoist the first place trophy much higher over their heads. But it will work just fine in that trophy case, and you're going to have to make a little bit of room in that very crowded Hinsdale Central High School athletic trophy case to squeeze that one in.
Well, aside from how they played tonight, I think they've got to be extremely proud of how they played throughout the entire playoffs. They knocked off some outstanding football teams, being Bolingbrook to start out with, who most people thought that Hinsdale Central would lose by about 3 touchdowns, and they knocked off Brother Rice and Mount Carmel. They were just outstanding. Downers Grove South they beat in the first round.
They lost their first game of the season. They lost that to Wheaton Warrenville South in overtime. They lost the last regular season game. That was 9-0 to Glenbard West. And then they dropped this one here. On the other side, if you look for the losses for Maine South here in 2008, you aren't going to find any of them. Closest game this year came back on October 10th when they beat Glenbrook South 30-27. Joey Orlando with a late field goal to win that one. Otherwise, in all honesty, they were never really threatened this year.
And the player that kept Glenbrook South close in that game was the former head coach here, Phil Hopkins' son. Was the player there that made the big plays for Glenbrook South to keep them in that game and almost had the upset.
So for the first time since 2000, the Hawks get to jump up on that stand and get first place medals and a first place trophy. And how emotional it was. We heard Dave and Sarah talk about it. 3 straight years he comes down and it finishes second. And as a coach, no matter how strong your program is, there's always that thought in your mind, what if we can't get here again? He did get the opportunity and he capitalized.
Well, that's absolutely the truth. And oftentimes when you get here, people remember that you didn't make it, not that you got here, and what a tremendous road that was to be able to get to this state championship game. There's only going to be one state champ walking out of here, so it's not there's no ties.
You know, and every year they climbed a little closer. They lost by 21 in 2003. They lost by 20 in 2004. In 2005, it went to double overtime before Lincoln Way East defeated Maine South 30-24. But tonight, your state champs, 41-21, the Maine South Hawks over Hinsdale Central. Everybody gets a hand on that one at some point or other. And the Maine South band right there in the midst of everyone. Part of the entire spirit that we have talked about often, Jack. It's not just the football team that celebrates these state championships. It is the school and it is the community, and you can see it right now. Your state champs, the Maine South Hawks. We'll be back with more from Memorial Stadium following these 2 breaks. First a local, then a network on the IHSA TV network. The celebration will continue for a while here in Champaign, and then it will make its way up to Park Ridge and probably go on for a few days after that. There you see Maine South 41-21 winners over Hinsdale Central. Dave Bernhardt and Jack McInerney back with you at Memorial Stadium. Jack, your final thoughts in this 8A game?
Well, I don't think that score indicated how good a football game we had. We had a really close and well-played football game for 3 quarters. Then the tide turned and Maine South just ran away with it. But I give my hats off to Hinsdale Central and to the state champion Maine South. It was a well-played football game, and both schools and both coaching staffs deserve some credit.
Let's wrap up this evening. Let's wrap up these 2 days and 24 hours of football by sending it over to our IHSA Network studios in Lee Hall.
All right, Dave Bernhardt, thank you very much. Jack McInerney, nice job, guys. Paul Parpet, Ron Muhich alongside. Great to see the emotion out of Dave and Sarah, a guy who back in the day, I was down on the field interviewing him, interviewing his principal, David Claypool, and they handled themselves with such class when they came down here and finished second 3 years in a row, but they get the big trophy tonight.
Well, I thought that it was a well-played football game, and the score was really no indication of how close the game was. The big stat was 283 yards on the ground for Maine South.
Yeah, and my congratulations to David and his staff. Just a great job. I know how to be second place and how you come down here and you work hard. and things can go any way once you get here. And you know, they played their game strategy very well, a little deceiving of what we thought they were going to do.
Right.
But they played what I thought was to their strength. Charlie Goro is a very fast person, faster than I thought he was. And to his credit, he was a playmaker tonight. So was Whitelaw. Two great athletes at quarterback, controlling a game back and forth in terms of big plays.
To quote my friend Denver Johnson, he's quicker than a hiccup. That's how quick he is, and elusive, I thought. I thought Charlie showed that really well tonight. He looked like he should have been caught, you know, 2 or 3 times on some of his bigger runs. He is able to escape and find a way, almost Houdini-like, in getting out of some of those spots and find the end zone.
When is the last time that we have seen the leading rushers of both teams being the quarterback?
Absolutely. Both teams 400 and some yards, almost identical. You know, you're looking for that running back to be the star. It's now traded to 2 teams that use the quarterback, and you know, it's hard to defend the quarterback, as we talked about before.
Exactly.
Just another dimension to football that's coming into play in high school football, which is kind of an interesting twist.
And we saw it in 4A last night for Bloomington Central Catholic and Adam Rebholz, the state champs in Class 4A. Gentlemen, thank you for your good work. Hopefully next year, in the near future, you'll be working downstairs. Not that I didn't enjoy it. Ron Muhich, Paul Parpet, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thanks for all you do. And I'm sure we speak for the entire Illinois High School Association, the coaches, the players, the schools, thanking the University of Illinois for being such a great host for us this weekend. It's always a lot of fun. It's 2 long days of football. We hope you enjoyed it on the IHSA TV network. For my partners here, for all our crew doing the hard work behind the scenes, I'm Lee Hall. So long from Champaign. Thanks for joining us on the IHSA TV network. We'll see you next February for girls basketball. So long.
Here, this is Maine South staff. Take those too. Good job.
Thanks, buddy.
See you.
You too. Thanks for
Good
your
to
help.
see you.
Yep, you too.
Thanks for carrying Jack again.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks for carrying Jack again.
I tell you, I